50 beers on a Tuesday afternoon! 50 beers on a Tuesday afternoon! Fuck yeah!
What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 16 of 15 Beers on Tuesday afternoon. I think this is going to be the last one that we actually do in the afternoon. It seems like everyone's getting back to work and school and whatnot. So I think we're going to move it from starting at 4 to starting at either 5 or 6. Give everybody a little bit more time to tune in, but we got a good one today. We're going with a Let's Start a Cult theme. See if anyone ever guess have been in a cult. Later on, we have Lauren Jean, singer-songwriter from New Orleans. Heard her band Dirty Rotten Snake in the Grass just now. After that, we have my pal Paul Flans, physics teacher in the Queens. We'll see how schooling in New York City's going. He's also modifying some amps, so we'll talk to him about that too. We're going to start off with local video director, filmmaker Allyson Ferrara. And we're going to play a video that she just made for the Gold Hope Duo. Every time I try to play a video here, it turns into a shit show, but this time will be different, so we'll see how this goes. This is No Time to Be Bored. It's off the new Gold Hope Duo Quarantine album. And there's probably an easier way for me to do this, but I don't know how it is, so we're going to unplug this from a phone. We're going to plug it into the computer here. It's going to make a crazy noise. Wait for it. There it is. I think there's one more, too. We'll get that out of the way before we put the video on. Come on. There's that one. All right, and then here's the Gold Hope Duo's new video. Hope you like it. So there you have the Gold Hope duo, No Time to Get Bored, directed by Allyson Ferrara, and we're gonna give her a call right now. We'll talk about that. That was the special Bong Hit edition as well. Apparently, the version that she's gonna send to New York Governor Andrew Cuomo is not gonna have the Bong Hit in it.
Hi, Kev.
Hey, what's up, bud?
How's it going?
Pretty good. How you doing?
Pretty good.
We just watched the Gold Hope duo video that you just made.
Cute. What'd you think?
It was fantastic. I mean, I was there for some of it, and then I've seen, I think, the rough cuts that you sent. I don't know. I think that might be the first time I've seen the finished version of it. But I think it came out great. It looks terrific.
Awesome. Yeah, it was a ton of fun to make. Good time.
When I messaged her, I guess there's two versions, one with her taking the bong hit and one without. And when I messaged,
one with the bong and one family friendly.
I asked her which one to use, and she said definitely the bong hit one. That the other one is to send to Andrew Cuomo, or for any other family friendly things. Which, I don't know, maybe that she should get into the activism, maybe, push the legalizing weed in New York State by sending the governor the bong hit one.
I 100% agree. I'm down with that. Larry, if you're listening.
I think she is. Because when I first played it, I'm shitty at this podcast thing. So when I first played it, I had started the first half without sound, so I had to redo it over again. And she was one of the first people to be like, "There's no sound." So I know she's.
They bought me a little more time,
So, is this the latest thing that you've worked on, or have you been doing?
Yeah. This is the latest thing that I've shot and completed at least. Got another short film that's in the can as far as being shot. We're just doing some audio work on it. But yeah, this is the latest greatest thing.
Nice. Has this been a busy time for you doing stuff during this, or like this? Did this like interrupt a lot of projects that you were gonna work on? This whole like the social distancing and the quarantine stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely been a little bit of a disruption in that I do the New Paltz Film Festival, and we've kind of had to reorient our game plan on that, and are sort of working things out with that.
Yeah.
As far as production stuff, I've done a couple fun things, personal projects with friends, some photo stuff, but not so much video. What was that?
You can't do anything like super big, like a bunch of people kind of thing, right?
Yeah, no 20 people in Snugs at 4 a.m. right now.
Oh yeah, the Red Necromancer video. Yeah, that was a good one.
But
the film festival, that was supposed to be the second. This was supposed to be the second year of it, and it was supposed to be. I think I actually have a screen with a flyer for it up here. It was supposed to be the second one, and it was supposed to be in September, right?
This was supposed to be the third one, actually.
Okay.
But it was going to be our second year, potentially doing it at the same place we did last year, which was an indoor theater.
Okay.
So that's, obviously not happening now. Our original intention before pandemic was to have it at the end of September. But now I think we're trying to just reorganize, maybe shoot for doing something in April.
Okay.
That we want to, have the plans to do that in an outdoor venue or drive through in case things are still how they are. I think buy ourselves a little bit more time, give some people the chance to submit and decide whether, I would love to do it in person again, with a bunch of people gathering around, as long as that's safe, but I also don't want the project to die. So worst comes to worst, we might look at some online options instead of in-person kind of screenings.
Gotcha. Is there a reason why you didn't try to do an online thing for this fall, just swoop in and kind of do it like that? Is that more work, or do you think it loses the feel that you're going for?
I think for my idea for the project is definitely community-oriented, and I like that ability for a bunch of different filmmakers and community members to get together, enjoy that experience of watching films in the theater together, having that chance to meet up afterwards and discuss. So I think bringing it online is going to lose all of that, or a lot of that. So I would, hope to do it again in an in-person kind of way. But at the same time, I think, just trying to keep that ability of community filmmakers together. If it's not possible in person, then I'd rather do it online than not at all. So right now we're kind of putting our heads together for that, and hopefully by giving ourselves to around April or so, be able to do it in one way or another and do it the right way. I think if we had tried to do it online so soon, it would have been a little too jumbled and not as successful as I'm hoping for.
I would hope that by April you're able to do some kind of at least outdoor kind of thing,
Fingers crossed, miss seeing people in person. Love the two friends I hang out with, but I'm getting tired of them. Just kidding.
Is Danny Assis one of them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time in a 3-person group with Danny Assis, and he can be a little much. I'm just kidding.
I would talk more shit about him, but he's in the next room right now. So.
Oh, that's the best way to do it, I think. So I guess I missed the film festival last year. I think I was at the one that you did at the Water Street Market. That was the first one?
Yeah, that was the first year.
Okay. And that was outdoors, but that was like a little too cramped probably for these quarantine years.
Yeah, that was at the Water Street Market in New Paltz, and it was really great. It was a blast. We had a huge crowd. We filled the entire seating area plus the two parking lots. And our second year we did at Studley Theater, which was on the SUNY New Paltz campus, which was also like a very, very successful. And, that was a lot more promotion, word of mouth stuff as opposed to Water Street Market, which kind of had this built-in audience already because they do a summer movie night, and we tied in with that. But I'm hoping that, even last year, met a bunch of filmmakers that I didn't know before, met a bunch of community members that weren't at the first one. So I'm hoping that we picked up a little steam with that and can still hold on to that for when we do the third year.
Yeah, it's a great thing to bring people with that are kind of working on similar things together. It's an awesome way to.
Totally, I think even myself as a filmmaker, one of my goals for that project was just to sort of create a space where it doesn't matter what stage of your career you're in, whether you're a new filmmaker or more professional. Just a chance to submit your work and share your work, and part of our mission for that is that I always want it to be free to attend and free to submit to. Because even myself as a filmmaker, considering submitting to some film festivals where there's even if it's a $20, $50 entrance fee for the chance to get in, some points in my life I've been too broke to put that much money into the gamble of maybe not. So at least for this project, I hope that we can always keep that sort of spirit of doesn't matter who you are or where you're at, if this is your passion, you at least have a chance to be a part of it. If not in the festival, definitely in the audience.
That's great. Yeah, like a more inclusive kind of thing. Are there a lot of film festivals are like that though? You have to pay a certain amount to get into them?
Yeah, there's definitely, I'm sure there's other free ones out there, but typically there's a submission fee that you have to pay, and typically if you're not a filmmaker that's gotten into the film festival, there's an entrance fee, to go to the film. So, my goal for this is, it'd be lovely to have it be self-sustaining financially. But if, for us, I think if we want to make any money off of it and doing that and having it run itself instead of out of pocket, do it through advertising and local businesses, which was really great last year. We had a lot of amazing sponsors that helped support us, helped us get it running. So I'm hoping, for the future that we can have that same kind of thing where there's just other passionate, creative people or people that support the arts that believe in our mission as well and are willing to help us fund it.
That's great. I like that idea. Because it seems like, if everyone's paying a submission fee, I'm sure there's some film, it's like if it's the same as any like band kind of thing, it's like certain bands are going to get on the festival whether they submit or not. You know, I'm sure the big film festival, some films are going to get in whether or not. So, you know, your chance to, you know, having it be more democratic and more everyone just inclusive, I think is cool.
It was really amazing. The first year, I think we had, I want to say it was like 30 or so filmmakers submit, and then second year, we had over 90, maybe 100 filmmakers submit. And that was all just sort of like promoting on our own like Facebooks and Instagrams, hanging flyers, not really even pushing too hard with advertising. So I think, you know, next year I just want to go bigger and with that promotional side of things to get the word out more and hopefully grow our community even larger than, you know, the previous years.
And most of the stuff you're showing are like short films, right?
Yeah, right now, for the last 2 years, I think our max time was 20 minutes because we do about a 2.5 hour time slot, so we wanted to give enough time to show, you know, a couple different filmmakers' films. My goal for this year, I'm not sure if I'm going to still continue with that, was that either do like a multi-day event so we could show a feature a night plus a couple short films. I also really would love to do a separate morning or early evening, a kids film festival section of it. Because, you know, I started making movies when I was really young, and that was always really exciting to see your stuff on a big screen. And then I was lucky enough last year to teach a kids filmmaking class at Unison, and that was amazing. Like, it was so great working with all these kids who are way more creative and talented than I am, and, you know, it might take me a year, 3 years to write something down, and these kids were conceptualizing an idea in 45 minutes and then rolling with it. So I would love to do some sort of, you know, kids elements where younger filmmakers get the chance to show their work to an audience in a theater.
That's awesome. So 90 submissions last year, and like, so most of them are at least a couple minutes long. You're doing 2.5 hours. Like, how many actual things did you show last year with 90 submissions?
So, well, last year we had 90 plus filmmakers submit that were allowed to submit up to 2 films each. So we probably had about 130, 140 submissions.
More.
And we ended up showing, I think, only 12 last year out of all the ones we got. Which is always a really fun part, like watching all the films. And then the really hard part is watching a bunch of really great films and only being able to pick, you know, a dozen of them.
And so do you have like a board of people that you're working with this? Like, it seems like it's hard to, like, it'd be hard to filter the stuff out, you know?
Yeah, we have a board right now. Last year, I think our board was 6 people. So I would always love to grow that. I think one of our goals is to move it into being a nonprofit, just to legitimize it a little bit more, have an easier time finding sponsors and spaces and insurance and all that, like business side of stuff. Right now, I'd say we have definitely three people kind of head of the board, and then last year we had 3 or 4 other people that I still think are committed to this year. But I think if we're going to move into like a nonprofit area, just find some solid players that are down to follow this for as long as it's able to go. Right
on. That's awesome. You said you got into filmmaking young. Like, what drew you into, like, how'd you get started?
I got my first camera, when I was like maybe 7 or 8 years old as a Christmas present for my parents, and started making like silly little animations by myself. And then, my friends saw that I was making movies and they wanted to make movies. And then I had a crew of a couple really, close friends, including my best friend Stephanie, that, whenever we hang out, we just make silly little films. And I think my interest in film has always come from just loving movies. My dad was a big movie guy. He used to own a Laserdisc store. He and the rest of my family were always, old school, he owned the Laserdisc store. So grew up with 1,000 different Laserdiscs in the house because he went out of business post Blockbuster, but kept all the movies.
Well, because that was a really small era, that the Laserdisc. Those were the big fuckers, right? Like the size of the vinyl. Is that?
Yeah, the LPs of cinema, you know.
And you had to switch them, I think, halfway through for like longer movies, right?
Yeah, that was always a fight between me and my brother. And after that, we were watching Aliens or Terminator 2, which was 2 discs, which means you had to flip it 4 times, I think.
Oh, Jesus.
But better quality than a DVD. It's true.
That's such a funny time, like, you know, between VHS and a DVD, like, you know, where that was the thing for such a brief amount of time.
I'm still a Laserdisc fan, you know. Still got a Laserdisc player in my house, so.
Yeah, you still watch that?
But occasionally, I mean, it's definitely easier to like turn on, you know, Amazon Prime or Netflix. But if that retro feel calls, maybe I'll flip on a Laserdisc.
As someone that like makes movies, is there like a quality drop off in watching stuff on like Netflix? You know, is there like I don't know, like that compared to seeing things in a movie theater, or you know how people used to have bigger home theaters, now you're kind of like watching stuff on a laptop. Does that affect like how you experience movies?
I mean, I don't mind doing either. I think it's a different experience for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I can't remember who said it, but I'm not sure who I'm quoting, but I am quoting someone else in, you know, talking about the experience of seeing a film in a theater, kind of being like a dream. You know, you're like sitting in this dark room, watching something that's coming out in front of you that you don't know what's going to happen. You can't stop it, and you kind of just have to go along for the ride. And you know, I think that experience of being in a theater is very different than being at home or watching something on my TV or my laptop or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do love the experience of going to a theater. I don't mind going with friends. I have no problem going by myself. And there's just a different, you know, element to watching a movie that way than watching a movie at home. But if it's a good movie, I don't care how I'm watching it. Just hopefully not on my phone. That's one thing I can't do.
Yeah, I can imagine that's annoying. Have you been to the drive-in yet this summer?
No, I haven't been to the drive-in yet.
Because I feel like they've been doing all like retro, you know, like Aliens, and they've been showing all like older classics rather than newer films. It seems like.
Yeah, I'm all about that. Yeah, I saw that. I think Hyde Park Drive-In was doing like a Jaws. I forgot what the double feature was. I was working, but I would have absolutely went to that if it was available.
But like E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind, I think they could show those two together.
The
Thing.
I think it was Jaws and Tremors.
Oh, nice. That's great. Yeah, I think it was like fucking They Live and The Thing they were showing together. There's a bunch of like cool pairings that they're doing together. You also do a bunch of music videos. How does that compare to like the film stuff that you do?
How does that compare to what?
Like did you always intend to get into that, or is that kind of a side product of like, oh, you do these films and then bands just happen to ask you to do videos? I know you've done a bunch now, but like when you first started, did you intend to get into doing music videos? Was that like
no, it wasn't really an intention. I think I started doing music videos. I did a couple I used to work at place Palmer Road in New Paltz, and the boss, one of my owners, was a singer-songwriter. So I had first moved up here. He heard I did video stuff. You know, he was a music guy, and we did a couple videos together, and that was a lot of fun.
Nice.
Did a couple more for this artist that I had met through other people that was a fun experience. Wasn't necessarily, my type of music. Took a break for probably like 5, 6, 7 years from doing music videos until somebody mentioned that Red Necromancer was looking for a video.
We get back into it. Nice.
Man, that was great. That totally kicked me off doing more music videos, and I feel like I've done since doing that first one with you guys, I've probably done more music videos than like narrative shorts. And that's a great experience because I think prior to that, wasn't really a big collaborator. Was definitely
you had like an idea, and that's what you would want done, kind of.
Yeah, especially, I think for, like, narrative stuff, it's like, oh, I'll, like, sit and daydream about something for so long until I know exactly what it looks like, and then I know exactly what I want it to be.
Yeah.
But I think what's been really great about doing the music video experience is that, it's like, I have to collaborate with other people because it's not my art that I'm representing, it's somebody else's art that, is looking for a visual component to it. And that's been great. That's been a ton of fun with all the bands I've worked with recently, doing music videos. And I think there's like a just like faster pace to it, and that, you know, if I'm making something for myself or doing a narrative short, I have all the time in the world because there's no deadline for it. Where, you know, music video, most bands are looking to put it out around a certain time or drop it, you know, close to their album release or something like that.
Yeah.
So then there's that added, and for me, I love pressure. It's like the more pressure there is, I feel like the faster thinking I am on my feet, the more creative I tend to be. Just because I think for me that pressure really feeds into feeding me ideas.
Yeah.
So I've enjoyed that part of the process, you know, and even this video that just did with the Gold Hope duo, you know, Lara reached out to me saying that they had, you know, the songs they wanted to do during quarantine, and, you know, sent me the song and the lyrics, and, you know, had the idea like, oh, I'd love to shoot something that kind of is just representing all the stuff that's going on. I sat down for lunch one day, talked about what we were going to do. I feel like it was probably one of the quickest videos that I jumped into. Usually I like the time to storyboard or do a shot list, and like I had a little bit of time to do that, but you know, then we just met up at our house and kind of used the lyrics as our playbook, and you know, I think it came out really great for me feeling a little nervous that I wish I had more time to prepare, but once we started doing it, I think it was really easy to just shoot it all in. We shot 2 days, you know, a couple hours each day.
You got it done so quick, it seemed like. Yeah. It was like, what, two sessions, right? Like 2, 3?
Yeah, we did two sessions of shooting. And first day we shot, you know, I made them do a lot of live performance stuff that, you know, didn't even make it into the video. I think we shot like 3 different locations of them just playing the song. Ended up just using one of them, and then Lara has Matt have a gorgeous house, and made it really easy to make it aesthetically pleasing and silly and fun to just sort of have all these silly things that you might be doing in quarantine acted out.
Yeah, that song is good too, because it kind of like the storyboard is the lyrics to an extent, where you just have to figure out which ones you don't want to do almost, you know, like there's not time to get a shot for every thing she says, so you almost have to figure out, you know, which ones you want to do.
Totally, yeah. You know, and I think we hit a lot of the things, but that was also like one of our concerns is that, okay, like this is happening so quickly, there's no way that we're going to get every single line represented, so then you just pick the ones that are going to play the best on camera.
I really like some of the like walking through, you know, where Matt's walking through, where Lara comes up, and then the Tupperware one where Lara is coming forward. And then the top, you know,
that's my favorite shot. That's my favorite shot in the whole thing.
There's one where the roommate one. I hope your roommates get along. I hope you get along. Where Matt walks by and they have that look. That's a good one too. Where he's walking through. Is that weird? Like, say you have an idea for a like short film that you want to make. You have the idea in your head. How do you find the people that you want to act it out for you?
I think that's changed a bit in the past for me. You know, I think in the past there used to be, I would have an idea, not necessarily maybe like a face representing who the character was, but then the more I sat with it, someone would kind of come to mind, and then that person would kind of be the player in this like fantasy that I was creating in my mind, and then reach out to them, and if they weren't down, find someone else. You know, I think the last like year or two, you know, I've been lucky enough to be working with Danny, and I think Danny's been like the on-screen person for most of the things I've been shooting, which has been really great because I think we have a very similar mind in what we're trying to do, what we want to do. And I like being behind the camera, and he likes being in front of the camera. Nice. So that always works out well. And then he also composes, so makes the whole production kind of easy.
That's great. Nice. You know that I was in a band with him for like 12 years, and we had one music video that someone else did for us, but none that were made by him.
Well, what are you guys doing this week, huh?
I don't know about Tiger Fist videos anymore. I think that ship has sailed. That's another thing. It's like watching that Gold Hope video. Like Lara is such a ham. Lara and Matt both are like pretty good actors. And I know when you worked with us, like we did Mal songs where he's really good at that. Like, when you're doing music videos, is it hard sometimes to get the band when you don't have, you know, or has everyone you worked with had like a ham like that in a band that like is pretty good at acting, or is it more like director intensive with bands sometimes because you have to, they're the ones that wrote the song, but they might not be comfortable acting out the scenes per se.
I think I've looked at least in the last year or two with the music videos I've worked on that either the band members that the people that are in the band that want to be on screen happen to be super charismatic in front of the camera. Like Mal was fantastic.
Yeah.
Lara lit it up. And I worked with a couple other bands. I worked with this other band, RBNX, who were fantastic and great, but knew that they were not the guys to be on camera. So found a couple of our goofy friends that were willing to be on camera and were fantastic and played really well.
So
and I haven't had that experience.
You kind of had someone else play out the story instead of the band because they weren't like comfortable being on camera. Is that what
exactly? Yeah. That one band, was very much into the idea of hiring other actors to be in the video for them, and they were happy like doing the performance side of it, and that one video for this band was sort of about two just like party dudes that are late to a show and have to find their way there, and then they get to the show, and the band themselves is then on camera playing, but the action and the acting is from those guys.
Nice.
But I haven't yet worked with a band who's wanted to be in the video and
but hasn't
been successful.
Yeah, like I think I made a good swamp monster, but I don't know. I don't think I could have done what Mal did. Like I feel like Mal in that Loaded Gun did a pretty
yeah, but you killed Swamp Zombie, Kevin. You nailed that role. So
yeah, I think.
Also, I walked by.
You what?
I walked by that pond the other day, and it is disgusting.
Yeah.
Kudos to you for sticking your feet in there.
Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't submerge.
Like I said, the snakes are like the one thing that scares me. So as long as if I would have seen a snake, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But I've probably been submerged in something worse than that. Maybe. And Jim too. Like I don't think of Jim as much of an actor, but he crushed it as the police zombie.
Oh my God, yeah, he was fantastic, especially that there's that one scene where him and Mal are spinning around with the shotgun and just hamming it up. Yeah, you guys are all great.
And he wasn't as much of a coward with the contact lenses,
You guys were, all big sports, getting up at 4 a.m, letting me put peroxide in your eye by accident,
Yeah, I don't know. That was... The contact lenses, I think, was the hardest part for me. Sitting in that swamp was much easier than the contact lenses.
I think the best part about the contact lenses was that it was essentially the color of your eye, so you probably could have got away with not wearing them at all. But I'm glad you were committed.
I don't even want to hear that now. So this is the cult episode. Have you ever been in a cult?
I've never been in a cult. I don't think I'm susceptible to being in a cult. But I also am.
I think that's what everyone thinks.
Fangirl that I know. So yeah, if it was the right leader, maybe. I think I'd be better off running a cult. I think I've got enough charm to do that.
I was thinking about that. You said that in your text, and there aren't a lot of female cult leaders. I don't know if I can't think of any. There's got to be some at some point, right?
Soon, maybe. I don't know. You want to join my cult?
Maybe. I mean, I wonder how like a female-led cult, like what the differences would be between that and a male cult.
I probably don't make you drink any Kool-Aid. Maybe just some gin, a couple Gimlets or something.
No mass suicides. Well, I mean, the mass suicide I think happened because they were like kind of cornered in wherever it was, at Ghana or wherever they were. Like
I might skip the mass suicide in my cult, but we'll have a great time. I promise.
Well, that's whatever. I mean, see, you're doing good because I think that's what everyone A good cult leader promises everyone it's going to be a good time, and next thing you know,
I guarantee it.
You guarantee it. I don't know if you're listening to like the last podcast on the left or anything like that, but they did an episode on Jim Jones, and early on, like he was very like important as far as like racial integration in like the Midwest before he went a full on like methamphetamine cult leader. But I think he integrated like grocery stores in these like poorer neighborhoods, and he did like a lot of good work for like racial justice early on. But
why do you think I'm doing the New Pulp Film Festival? I'm
is
trying to
that
get
it?
the community in on it, the kids in on it.
There you go.
Just kidding.
And where does I can see Danny as like like the kind of vice president of a cult. Like I think I could see him like is like a good cult helper, you know.
He's a good listener, so you know.
There you go.
And he's charming as well, so I'm sure he can help us get members.
Yeah. So what's the next thing you're working on?
The next thing I'm working on, well, I want to finish up the one thing that I have in post production right now for sure. And then I have a couple people that have reached out recently that want to do a couple music videos. So just gotta get back to them and see what they're looking at, or what they're trying to do, and especially just in the times that are happening now. I think for me, I'm willing to do smaller productions, something I did with Lara where it's just a couple people, socially distanced away. So that, as far as like maybe more professional for other people, but then for myself, I'm trying to think of, I got a couple ideas right now that I'm kind of spinning around in my brain. Hopefully maybe just do like a 5 to 10 minute narrative with a smaller crew, maybe something that's gonna be more outdoorsy. I've got like a couple woods ideas that I'm working out. But I just want to try to keep active, and when I'm not doing video, I've been lucky enough to be doing like some photos for people and things like that. So as long as I'm behind the lens, I'm feeling productive.
That's great. I have a love song for a dog that I might need a video for. And I think it would be mostly like dog walking. I have a picture of the video of me on the screen now, and a picture of you and Dean on the screen right now. So
the only thing I love more than videos, Dad, is dogs. So let me know.
Yeah, I'm wondering how. I'm trying to picture how like Una or a bunch of these other dogs would react if someone was like walking in front of them with a camera. I feel like we might need to trick them somehow, like some kind of zoom lens from across the street or something.
Well, I worked with my first dog actor this past summer in that video that we're finishing up now. Rosie, she was great. Shout out to her mom and dad, Pete and Dominique. But she maybe she's just like a very, very good dog. But she was a fantastic actress. Did a great job. Was super easy to work with for a lot of it. But then when we had to do close-ups, was a little bit more difficult because they want to come up and give you kisses and don't understand cut and action as well as humans do.
I just heard Lara just had that read somewhere about like trimming the dog's nails, which I've never done myself. But what you do is you get saran wrap and wrap it around your forehead and put peanut butter on the saran wrap, and the dog licks that. The dog just sits there and like basically with his paws in your hands and licks the peanut butter, and is so distracted that you just snip away with the
Yeah, I'm not above it. I'm all about the DIY budget productions. Doing it how you can, whatever way you can. So I'll take some saran wrap and put peanut butter on my head if that's how it has to go.
Awesome. Well, it was great talking to you.
Yeah, you too. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, right on. And I love the Gold Hope video, and I can't wait to see what you do next.
Let me know when you want to hang out with some dogs and a camera.
I will. I think fall is going to be a good season for that. We'll get some nice.
I'll do that video for you if you join my cult.
Okay, done. and then your cult will already have a shitty podcast. This can be where we rope more fucking idiots into the more followers into the fold.
Perfect.
All right, Allie.
All right, guys, have a good one. Next talking with you.
You too. Later.
Bye.
All right, that was Allyson Ferrara. That was a fun one. New Paltz filmmaker extraordinaire. We got Lauren Jean, singer-songwriter from New Orleans, coming up next. We'll listen to one of her songs on the break. If you're listening to this on the podcast sites, then you won't hear the song. But I think I'm going to leave the Gold Hope video in for the YouTube and the audio podcast, and we'll see if I get flagged for any copyright infringements for that. Hopefully not. But here's a song called Bender from Dirty Rotten Snake in the Grass. And I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll call Lauren Jean. All right, welcome back to episode 16 of 15 Beers on Tuesday afternoon. Beer Universe had the Bat Blue Light back. They haven't had that in a few weeks. It's good for me. I like that shit, as far as shit beer goes. We just talked to Allyson Ferrara, New Paltz filmmaker. That was a fun one. And now we're going to talk to Lauren Jean, singer-songwriter from New Orleans. I just texted her that I was going to take a break and then call her, and she says, I know, I'm listening. And it makes me glad that I didn't talk any shit about her during the first interview. All right, here we go.
Hello.
Yo, what's up?
How many beers have you drank so far?
What are we talking here? Let's see. 2, 4. I'm almost done with 5. So we're starting off slow here.
Yeah, no shit, dude.
Yeah, we'll get there. How about you?
Are
you on the wagon?
I'm on number 3.
Are you really?
I am.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's.
Well,
you're an hour.
I worked this morning. I'm allowed to start early.
You're an hour behind. So anyway, I think you're ahead of schedule. What are you doing now? Are you still in the kitchen?
No, I am a landscaper now. The restaurant that I was working at closed, I think, for good.
Okay. That sucks. The last restaurant I think I was aware of was Siberia, but you moved on after that to somewhere else, right?
I was working at a place called Mimi's in the Marini. It's like a Spanish-style tapas bar. I was a sous chef.
Okay.
It was actually a really fun job, but I've been talking forever about getting out of the service industry, and I think I finally have.
Okay,
so,
yeah.
That.
I mean, how is that going down in New Orleans? Like, I mean, so many restaurants are predicated
shut
on
down
just dunzo, huh? Like,
yeah.
A lot of these places, are they going to be able to reopen even because so many bars and restaurants are built around the tourism, right?
Yeah, I mean that's a huge percentage of our economy here, and it's all shut down. So I mean, at the beginning of this thing, I would say probably 90% of the people that I know were out of work. So that's a lot. Maybe even more than that. Some people have gone back to work in kitchens. A lot of people are trying to figure out something else.
Yeah, because here, like, a lot of takeout stuff some places are getting by, like, doing takeout and delivery stuff. I don't know if that's as feasible down there,
There's definitely some places doing that. The place that I was working at, it's really not a menu that's designed for that.
Yeah, not good.
And without the bar income,
yeah.
Wasn't really sustainable.
When you left Siberia, was that place still open?
Yeah, well, they're actually still open right now.
Oh, they're open right now.
They moved to a different location about a year and a half ago, and I actually moved with them before I ended up moving to Mimi's.
Oh, okay.
But they're scraping by on takeout, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, and see, I always love the idea of that place. For anyone listening, it's in New Orleans, and it's like a live heavy metal bar with like Eastern European, like Russian cooking. What do you call the menu there?
Yeah, it's Eastern European. I should clarify too. The kitchen is still open. The bar is
no metal shows. Yeah, obviously. Yeah.
Been gone for a long time, even before the pandemic. I mean, not a long time, a year or two.
Okay, so they moved to a new location and went just restaurant.
Yeah, the kitchen was a separate business and it moved out.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And they're still hanging on. The bar changed hands and turned into more of a touristy spot. And I mean, they've been closed like everybody else. I don't know any more than that.
And I think the first time I asked you to be on the show, you were doing some like dog work. You were working with dogs.
I was. For the first 3 months of the pandemic, John and I moved out to Assumption Parish, which is about an hour west of here.
Okay.
We were living in a trailer in the swamp and taking care of dogs.
Nice. That's a fucking country song right there.
Yeah. I haven't written it yet, but you if you get any hot hooks,
yeah,
send them my way.
And what was that? It was like a rescue kind of situation, or?
Yeah, it's one of the sites for the Villalobos rescue, which is actually pretty famous. If you've ever watched the Animal Planet show, Pit Bulls and Parolees, it's those folks. And they happen to be good friends of ours, and were kind enough to give us employment in the hard times. So we stayed out there for we stayed out there for about 3 months, and then we came back to town when there was a brief reopening of bars here, and John, my boyfriend, is a bartender.
Gotcha.
So when we got word that his place was reopening, we came back to town, and that lasted about 3 weeks.
About how long? How long?
Shut him back down again.
Yeah, how long did it last for?
His place was open for 3 weeks. I think that
Okay.
there was they opened a little later than some other spots, so maybe like a month.
Yeah. So and then everyone just started getting sick again. Is that what happened?
Yeah, the infection rate started going up again, so they shut them down. My place never reopened because they were reopened at like limited capacity, and
Yeah.
it's it's so hard to make money like that.
That's what I'm ever since it started. I started delivering for the Anchor, and
Nice.
Brandy was kind of like forward thinking with it. With right off the bat, she was like, "We're just closed down, no more seating in." She just jumped on it really quick. So we like kind of had a smooth transition, and by the time other places were starting to just do takeout and delivery, like she had already been doing it for a couple weeks, so we already had a system.
Smart.
It was great. But now it's like as things are starting, I think we need to be open at a certain capacity here in Kingston.
Mhm.
And the numbers are going down. I think because more places are open and people are eating out or whatever, and we're still just doing takeout and delivery like she's not open. But it comes to the point where, like, at what point do you have to open again? I don't know. It's, like, hard figuring out, like, because at 50%, can you make more than we're doing with the deliveries and takeouts now? And it's hard to do deliveries and takeouts if you're going to have people sitting there, it's not really, it's hard to do both.
It's hard to figure out. The margins for a restaurant are already so narrow.
Yeah.
You know this.
Yeah. And for, like you said, like, if, you have an opportunity to get out of the business, I think it's one of those things that's hard for a lot of people to do. So this might be a good. I mean, I think it might be hard for restaurants to find people to work in them once this is over. Once people that have been living that brutal life for so long have to find something else to do for a little while, it might be hard to drag them back in.
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it for most of the last 18 years.
Yeah. There's like a glory to it, but it's like, you're working a lot. You especially when at the Siberia place, those were like late hours too, right? Those weren't.
Oh, I wasn't even as late as the job I took after that. I had Friday nights. I'd be there till 5 or 6 in the morning.
And I don't know what New Orleans landscaping's like. Is New Orleans landscaping like 2 in the morning, or no? You're just working like a normal.
No, it's like regular landscaping.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just hotter.
Yeah, hot as fucking shit. I bet.
But then so's working a kitchen in the summertime.
Exactly.
Here.
I guess
it's also hot.
Anything in fucking New Orleans is hot. So what are you gonna do?
You just have swamp ass for like 9 months, pretty much.
So
no matter what you're doing.
What's up with music? You've been writing new tunes. You guys playing? I saw a live stream early on. You sent me a link to, and I haven't seen
we
it
just
live.
did another one last week too. That was really fun with a couple other local bands from our friend's backyard.
Okay.
Yeah, it was us, and then one of John's bands, Miss Martha and the Good Time Gang, and then Gal Holiday. So it's 3 like country. I mean, we're the least country, but us and then like 2 very country bands.
Oh yeah, your boyfriend sings in a country band as well?
No, he plays drums.
Plays drums. Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
I feel
Don't let him sing.
Yeah, well, yeah, you'd never let a drummer sing. That's our fucking.
Yeah.
It's my fucking problem.
Wait, what?
I feel like the last thing it was early on, maybe like April, that you sent me a link to something you were doing like a live stream for some other show, and it was like pretty ritzy looking setup on the online stream.
Yeah, that was I didn't set that one up. That was I want to say I think my drummer set that up, Tom. That's some friends of his that do a lot of like film production stuff.
Yeah.
But they have like a warehouse with all this fancy gear, and then once the pandemic hit, I think just for something to do, they started doing live streams for bands. But
That's awesome.
I should have had that information on hand to
I
give you a link to that. But
I forget what song you close with, but it was like Tom fucking rocking out some metal drums. And it was fucking
yeah, that's Ain't Tired of Living. That's on that last album we did.
Oh, is it? All right. Gotta fucking pay more
It
attention.
is. Yeah, and then so the end is different every time. We kind of just like me and Carrie just kind of like chunk on the chords until Tom's done. That's his. It's his time to shine. He's an amazing drummer, and he's very modest.
Gotta let him go.
He's very modest, except for sometimes that one song.
All right, nice. And how's that been going? Have you guys been like practicing, like doing? How's that work? Is it at the point where it doesn't even have to be social distance now? I feel like a lot of bands have been doing shit differently, you know?
I mean, we don't really have a practice space where we can socially distance, but we've had a few practices. I mean, we've practiced for both the live streams. But yeah, it's been pretty minimal. I've also been, out of town a lot since I was gone for 3 months at the beginning, and then John and I also we drove across the country to see my little sister get married.
Oh, up in Oregon?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was really worried about it, but we decided we were more comfortable renting a car and just camping the whole way and like not staying in hotels or not like taking a flight, and we tried to be smart, and fingers crossed it's been like a month now, and
I feel like
no cases I know attached to that event. So.
I mean, you're gonna fucking get gas in New Orleans, so you're gonna get gas at a fucking I don't know, is it that much dangerous to get a gas at a fucking Pilot in the middle of Oklahoma than it is to get gas in New Orleans? I don't think so, right? Like you're not. I don't know.
We were vigilant about the mask and the hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
So I and we weren't eating inside restaurants. We were like eating out of a cooler in a parking lot.
Yeah. I mean, even getting takeout.
We really
food,
did our best.
Like I think if you were gonna get takeout food, from there, it's the same as where you're from almost, right? Like unless you're traveling through an area that has some like super high infection rate, which for the most part, like New Orleans to Oregon, you're going through the middle of fucking nowhere, right?
It was a lot of the middle of fucking nowhere for sure.
Yeah. Which route do you take there? Do you like take 40 across and then go up, or do you go like up and then across?
I'm trying to remember what highways we took. I can tell you what states I have shot glasses from.
Whatever.
We took a slightly different route back. I know up we went through like Texas, Oklahoma.
Okay, so yeah, you're kind of going out west.
Kansas,
and
Wyoming.
Then going up, yeah. Right on.
A
lot of pretty shit on that drive, I bet.
Yeah, we camped in the Tetons one night. That was really fun.
Nice.
And I think my favorite spot we camped on the way back. We camped in Snow Canyon State Park in southwestern Utah. That was really beautiful.
Nice. And your family's from like eastern Oregon too, so it's not even.
No, well they live in Portland now.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Yeah.
I had Sam Bones on the show a while ago. Was it a couple episodes ago? And she was good. She's living out there now. She's all over the place. Yeah.
I miss me some Sam Bones.
Seth Kessel says to say hello. I saw him. He was at Lara's a couple days ago.
Ah.
Yeah.
Shit. Miss you guys.
Yeah. Alaska. That was fucking fun, right?
Alaska was fun.
Yeah.
I really want to do it again.
Me too. I did. I talked to. I had Boo and Johnny Lungs on early. I tried to get you. That was when you were doing the dog thing.
I know. Yeah, I was really sad I couldn't be a part of that.
Who the fuck?
I had horrible reception out there anyway, though. So.
Well, fucking when I called Boot, he was all like, he was at like an excavation site or some shit with like the shit on speakerphone. I don't know. It was like a very. I love Boot, but and he's so fucking interesting. But like, I think he was very. Felt like I was dragging him along a little bit,
Poor guy.
Yeah. What else? Oh, cults. Have you ever been in a cult?
I sort of grew up in one, depending on who you ask.
Yeah, like in what sense?
I lived out in the middle of nowhere in Eastern Oregon. My dad ran a Young Life camp, which is like, if you're not familiar, it's like an evangelical Christian organization. But we lived out there, and we were like simultaneously like ranching, and also we would run the summer camp for like high school kids.
Gotcha. Okay.
But it was like
evangelical summer camp. So yeah, that's
we were like an hour, I was like an hour away from like the nearest grocery store, and like everyone that I grew up with worked out there also. So it felt very culty.
Yeah, right on.
Or certainly it feels very culty in retrospect.
I mean,
think
definitely
at the time,
religious camps in the middle of fucking nowhere. It kind
yeah.
of feel culty.
At the time, I think I was just like, I'm riding horses and like herding cattle. This is fucking great.
Yeah.
And I don't think I'd change it. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you got out. You didn't have to like, do any of those crazy things to escape like you do most cults, right?
No, yeah, no one ever tried to make me drink any Kool-Aid that wasn't just Kool-Aid or anything.
Yeah, right on. Have you ever?
I did get letters from people that lived there for a long time after I was kind of out.
And how'd you?
But I've moved enough now that that I don't get those anymore.
What made you decide? When did you leave Eastern Oregon?
Well, I didn't live there full time. Once I was in high school, there wasn't a high school out there. There was like a one-room K-8 that I went to.
Okay.
And then my family, or like my mom and my sisters and I moved to Bend.
Okay.
So that like we could go to a regular school.
Yeah.
But then we still were out there all the time, and my dad was still working out there full time, and we spent summers out there until my parents kicked me out at the beginning of my senior year of high school for smoking weed.
Oh shit! Yeah, you're just out of the fucking house.
Yeah.
I grew up with some kids like that where their parents would catch them drinking, and my friend Ray in particular, and they sent him to fucking rehab for like fucking 4 months because we were fucking drinking like we get a case of Meister Brown, you all get sloppy from drinking 7 beers, and they sent him to fucking rehab, and he came back and he's like, we need to listen to the Gorilla Biscuits and DRI, and we're taking acid tomorrow. And it's like, you just fucked. He knew all the cool shit because he was in. We were not cool kids. We weren't doing cool shit. But he went to rehab and he met all the cool kids, and we'd be fucked if we're not going to do that shit as soon as he gets back. Like,
Hell yeah.
It's not in the same thing. Like, you're smoking some weed, kick you out of the house. Are you going to smoke less weed when you're kicked out of the house? No. It's like.
Oh no, definitely not.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, you want to hear a sound?
Yeah.
Number 4 there, bud.
Number 4. Oh, shit. What am I? Oh, I just started on 7. So I'm 3 ahead, but again, I'm an hour ahead. So yeah, I'm not trying to. Not sure. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking Miller Lite, dog.
Right, nice. The Labatt Blue Lights are my favorites for some reason. It seems like
it's that Canada beer.
Yeah, the shows always go smoother with them. I think they must be like the Miller Lights are pretty good. I did Jenny Light one day, and I was fucked up for that one. I think those must be a little higher. When I first started, I think in episode 2, before I was really recording them, or 3, I was doing like a Facebook live stream, but I wasn't recording them. And I did like Keegan Ales, Mother's Milk, and Old Capitol, and I think the Keegan Ales are 8%. And
I don't think you should drink 15 of those and then try to talk to people.
The last 40 minutes, I'm just asleep on the fucking couch, and like Lara and like 4 other people are watching me sleep. It wasn't. Yeah, it was cute, I guess, in a way. It's like, but it's not.
Can I tell you something? I was hoping you'd be more drunk.
Oh yeah, I mean, I guess I could go do some liquor, but I don't know. It's probably not a good idea.
John just busted out the tequila, so.
All right. Well, we still got some time here. I'll try to drink quicker, and I'll be more interesting. I'm sorry, I'm not interesting enough.
I just there's like only. I mean, I know Tour Kevin. Tour Kevin goes pretty hard.
Tour Kevin is like, the beginning of the day, I'm grumpy because you guys are a bunch of fucking fuckers, and then night Kevin is fun because I'm drunk and I don't care that you guys are a bunch of fuckers.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, half the time Mal's already passed out, so it's just you and me, bud.
Remember, where was it? It was Seward.
I was just thinking about that, where we had to put him in the RV. He was trying to party, and we were trying to give him relationship advice, and then he fell over.
Well, I don't know. We were there. We did a tour of Alaska. For anyone who were listening, me, Lauren, and Mal. Me and Mal played as Red Necromancer. Lauren played by herself. We played in this bar in Seward, which is a fucking beautiful place that I recommend everyone go. What was it called? Like the fucking It wasn't the pit.
Pit.
The pit.
It's called
it was
the pit.
The pit. And they had an RV out front for us, so that was fucking cool that we got to stay in or whatever. I think
we ended up staying there for 2 days.
I think 3 days, to be honest.
Was it 3 days?
Well, yeah, because there was the first day we played there, and then we stayed there. The first day we played from 10 to 2, and it was still light out.
And then everybody showed up.
And
so
then everybody showed
playing.
up, so we still played till 5 in the morning. And then 5 in the morning is when me, you, and that giant dude in the kilt went out and drank
awesome.
Jameson. What the fuck was his name? Like Gronk or something? Kronk?
I think it was Gronk.
Gronk is like a Patriots tight end, so I think it was like close to that. I think it might have been Kronk.
He doesn't play for the Patriots anymore.
Yeah. Oh yeah. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, we had to put Mal to get bed that day. But then the open mic night day is what I'm talking about, where you and me are sitting out there talking to, like, I forget who the fuck we're talking to. I think it was a bunch of, like...
It's that teacher that gave us all the salmon.
The teacher that gave us the salmon. But then Mal comes in and he's, like, trying to leave, and he's going to go into the fucking basement. There's a door just leaning against the side of the wall. An old door, and he's trying to open that to leave.
He doesn't realize
all right,
there's
fucking
just a wall
Narnia.
behind
Yeah,
it.
Lion the Witch and a fucking banjo player.
Yeah, we pretty much just lived there for like a couple days, other than our expedition to hike that iceberg, which that was pretty fun.
Yeah, I mean, Alaska, for anyone that hasn't been, you have to fucking go.
Dude, we gotta go back.
I mean, I remember leaving and being like, well, I'm coming back next year. You know, like, and I can't, it's almost strange that I haven't been there since, you know. It's like such a fucking experience, especially during this when everything's like shut down. It's like, where else would you fucking be? Everything's always shut down up there, you know, kind of.
Dude, except the bars, man. They love their bars up there. I bet they'll be just fine.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I wonder, you know, because there are a lot of tourists, so I wonder if the tourists fuck it up. You have people coming from everywhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
But there's so few fucking people that, I don't know. That
I mean, and they don't really only get the tourists for a few months.
Yeah.
Too. I think the people that live there like drinking enough. I think their bars will be fine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Do people go out to bars in the winter there? Because a lot of shit, like, when you were trying to do the booking for there, a lot of stuff was closed over the winter,
true.
right?
I don't know. They probably just, like, cut the phone lines and snowshoeing or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Everybody we met up there was such a powerhouse.
Yeah, but I think they might just stay home and get booked. I don't really know.
Maybe.
Where did the moose go when it rains? Where does Johnny Lungs go when it's fucking January? I don't know. I don't have these answers.
You should have asked him that when you had him on your show.
I probably did. That was another one. I'm sure it was a good conversation, but I don't remember a lot of that one. that was fucking hazy.
Good thing you recorded it for posterity.
Yeah, well, that's the thing too. Why I try to slow it down in the beginning, because otherwise, when I'm editing it the next day to put it on the podcast sites, I have to listen to myself for a while. I'm like, oh, this fucking dude, what is wrong with me? You know. It's
that's
like there's one thing to be drunk, and that's fine. Like, I think I don't mind it, and I think I'm okay at it. But it's another to, like, be sober and then listen to a recording of yourself drunk is not the best way to.
That's why you just gotta get drunk again when you post it the next day.
Yeah. Oh, is that it? So I can do the editing.
Words of wisdom.
Do the editing drunk. I gotcha.
Yeah.
It was like when I was younger, like 21, 22, I used to be in this band in New Paltz. I think you played at Snugs in New Paltz when you were here.
Yeah.
But there's an older band of drunks, and we'd do these shows, and we would just be a fucking slop fest when we played. And the band, it was like, they were like 24 and we were 20, so they were the older band. They used to be
you're
like,
half dead at that point, man.
You need to practice drunk. If you're gonna play drunk, you need to practice drunk, and then you'll be fine when you're. It wasn't like don't get so drunk when you play. It was like just get drunker when you practice.
Like
yeah, exactly.
That's words of wisdom, man.
Well, you guys, Dirty Rotten Snake in the Grass. I feel like, the drinking is the least of your issues, right? You guys are like hardcore fucking.
Oh no, man! They whip my ass into shape. I get fucking hammered when I go on tour with you guys by myself because no one can get pissed off at me but me. You know.
I see. I have a live. I just put a live picture up now, and I had a better one of you from the same thing. It was like right next to it, but it didn't have Dizzy in it, and I wanted to get Dizzy in the picture, so.
Yeah, we used to go pretty hard, but they at least make me stay sober for shows now.
All right.
Or like sober-ish. I mean, like not blackout drunk.
How's Dizzy doing?
I think he's doing all right. Like I said, I've only seen him a handful of times since this whole thing started.
A
But
lot of those, him and Tom both kind of, and Kerry live off like playing music in New Orleans.
um, Dizzy and Tom are both just musicians.
Yeah.
So yeah, they live off that. Carrie uh was working at One Eye Jack's and at a tattoo shop. I think both of which are One Eye Jack's is a venue, so
Gotcha.
that's definitely done for now anyway. I don't know about tattoo shop, but
Yeah.
yeah, he's service industry also.
So how are they doing as musicians? Like you just do like busking? If there's no tourists, is there busking? Is like what? How are they getting through?
I know they've been doing live streams, and I mean they're
Gotcha.
both smarter than me, so I think they have like money saved. I just realized that I mean I've pretty much worked this whole time, like for the most part, other than like our road trip. I mean I worked at the dog rescue for 3 months, and then when we came back and John started working at the bar again, I got like a construction job for a couple weeks, for a friend, working for a friend, and then now I'm doing this landscape thing. Oh my God, though, last week when we thought we were gonna get hit by that hurricane and
Oh
ended up
shit!
hitting
Yeah.
west of us, and it rained every day for a week, I realized that I really should. I cannot be unemployed. Like I will just be a fat slob that
Yeah.
gets drunk on my couch and watches Netflix all day. It's not good.
Yeah, that's hard to motivate. I think when the quarantine first happened, Mal bought himself a PlayStation 4 and just like stayed home, like I think drinking liquor and playing fucking Fallout 4. I think
Yeah.
he's the same way. I think he needs to like be at a job and just kind of some kind of structured lifestyle around him.
Well, it's so crazy because I've always worked so much, and then if you talk about like the things that you'll do with your free time,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have all this free time, you're like, no, I'll just do it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's fucking
It's like I really care about this next episode of Orange Is the New Black, or
I
whatever the fuck.
fucking I agree completely. It's like if I have if I have a week, if I have a ton of free time, I get nothing done. If
Yeah.
I have just like a little bit of unexpected free time, I get stuff done. It's almost like you have
Yeah.
to like surprise me with it. And then I'll be like, oh,
Yeah.
I can work on this recording for a little bit, But if it's like I have 3 days, I'm like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And then I'm back to work, like, and then I've done nothing.
If I'm working 60 hours a week, I'll pull hours that don't even exist, like to
Mhm.
regular people, just out of my asshole, and I'll make something happen. But yeah, give me like 6 days off in a row.
I think that's like a perpetual motion thing. I remember like when I first opened a taco shack, like, the first 3 weeks I worked like 100+ hours. It was fucking bananas. And I
Yeah.
would still go out drinking. And it's like, how the fuck, if you're working from 9 in the morning till fucking 1 or midnight or 1 or whatever, 7 days a week, how are you going to go drink after that? And it was just because it was new and I was so fucking amped. It was like, it was new and things were going well. And it was like a feeling of accomplishment. So you're all fucking fired
And then
up.
you wake up one day and you're like
This
just immediately
sucks.
10 years older.
Yeah, exactly. For me, it was like, 17 years at one job
Yeah.
is fucking crazy. Who does that? Like police do that because they have like a pension and shit. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. I don't know. But
Yeah, they got protesters to go beat up, and they
yeah,
got like unarmed black men to murder. They're just super psyched about it.
how is that down in New Orleans? Are there protests down there or like?
I think they've fallen off a bit lately. They're still doing like some weekly stuff, and everything down here was pretty peaceful on the protesting end, and it was only violent on the end of the cops.
Yeah.
Um,
Like I don't think I don't think some 17-year-old from Alabama is gonna haul into New Orleans with an AR-15 and show up on the street. Like,
you would hope not. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a whole different world.
Yeah, there was definitely like huge protests here, and they were like back in the height of this shit a few months ago. Like I was out in Assumption for all the good action, but
Yeah.
they shut down the I-10 a couple of times. And yeah, it was really the violence was all from the cops.
Yeah.
shocked.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there was not like looting or anything down here. I think the only property destruction was people tearing down Confederate monuments that they'd been asking the city to remove for fucking years anyway.
Is there a lot of that stuff down in New Orleans?
What's that?
There's a lot of those like monuments and whatnot in New Orleans.
Oh yeah.
Because like I don't know. I don't think of New Orleans as like it's obviously southern, but I don't think of it as a Confederate city as much as like a French city almost. You know.
I mean, it's definitely been like a liberal bastard child of the South for a long time, but there's still like lots of statues. You know, every other fucking street's named after someone that owned slaves.
Yeah.
So,
and it probably
people
big,
have been asking for that shit to change for a long time, and I think when the protests started happening, people just kind of started like tearing stuff down and throwing it into the river. So that's been a thing. But that's been like the only property destruction that I've heard of.
Yeah.
Not like people. No one's burned down the French Quarter or like somebody's like mom and pop store or nothing.
Yeah. No one's burned down. What's the fried chicken place? Hank's?
No one's burned down Hank's, man. Hank's is like rebellion home base. We're talking about the Ninth Ward.
What's the
lady's your mask, your hand sanitizer, your
What's the lady's
snacks.
name? Yolanda? Is that the Friday?
Yolanda. Wow, I can't believe you remember that.
Because that's good. Was it like fucking 2 pieces of fried chicken for $1? No, it couldn't have been that.
They raised it. It's $1.49 now. It used to be 99 cents.
For 2 pieces though, right?
Yeah.
Or is it 1 piece?
It's 2 pieces.
2 pieces for $1.49 of fried chicken. That's crazy.
Yes, sir.
It's crazy.
And well, you live in New York, where everything is twice as expensive as it should be.
Well, that was the funny thing about going to Alaska is for me, everything was slightly cheaper than New York and Alaska, cigarettes and gas at least. And for you,
I was just in a constant state of sticker shock for like 3 weeks. Like, oh my God, I found cigarettes for only $9. I'm gonna get a bunch.
Are you still smoking?
I'm still smoking.
All right.
How you expect a lady to quit with all this stress these days? Man?
Yeah, no, I don't know. I was just curious. You know, it's like I'm out of the loop. You know, I don't even realize.
I'm proud of you.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I tried for like so long, and somehow I like brainwashed myself into quitting, and I'm trying to figure out how to do that for other shit. Like if I get fucking Jack Diesel, you know, like not be a fat fucker by doing the same thing, and I don't know if I know how to do that. You know. I think I just got
food's so good, dude.
What's that? Food is really good. Yeah. Exactly. To the extent where like a cigarette like is not as good as a meatball parm.
Yeah, if it's between food and cigarettes, I think that would be how I would quit. It's just like, well, do you want enchiladas or do you want a pack of Pall Malls? I'm like,
shit. Unplug my mic here. I think the idea in general is to just have better self-control all the time, but that's not my strong suit. So.
Well, you know what? That's a lie. But okay.
What do you mean? What's a lie?
How do you just make yourself have better self-control?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I mean, I think it is something that you can decide to do, you know? Like, I could have decided to quit smoking 10 years earlier. You can decide to do anything, you know, theoretically, I guess.
Yeah.
It might not be better or worse. I don't know. So what was up with that hurricane? They thought it was going to be like the apocalypse down there, and then it turned out to not be that bad?
Well, we thought it was going to hit us, and then it changed direction a few days before. Well, originally we thought we were going to Marco was supposed to hit us as a Category 1 hurricane, which isn't like, you know, not like we're evacuating for Cat 1, but then they thought like 2 days later we were going to get hit by like a Cat 3.
Oh, okay.
Being Laura, what actually happened was that Marco just dissipated into a tropical storm and it was nothing. And then Laura swerved west and hit western Louisiana and we're southeast. So it just rained for a week, which is not like abnormal for August anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And how is it in New Orleans now? Like it's not like everything has been, as far as like levees and shit, like things have been fixed. So if there is a crazy storm, you know, it's not going to just get completely flooded again, or...
I mean, that's what they say, man. I also used to live right next to the levee, and I've definitely, like, sometimes you're walking on the river and then you're just like, wow, that water is like 30 feet above my house.
Yeah.
And really close to the top of this here.
Yeah, wow.
But
what was that? Where was that fucking squat that we stayed with you the first like few times we came through?
That was in the 7th ward. It's actually just down the street from where I live now.
Okay, right on.
Yeah, I'm back in 7th.
What what's that? What's up with that house now? Like, well, didn't you guys like? Didn't someone have like squatters' rights to it almost or something like that?
They did, but they kind of expired, and the city decided they wanted to auction it off, and now it's been quote unquote remodeled as 10 studio units.
What?
And is for sale for like, I want to say it's close to $1 million, which is insane.
Jesus.
I mean, it's a big ass house.
Yeah, it was a big ass house, but 10. There's no way 10 studio units, right? Like that attic.
I mean, I think it.
It's like
it
a
used
4-bedroom.
It used to be 4 apartments, like 4 small apartments. Which I actually live in a house now with a similar old school floor plan, but it's 4 apartments. So, but
Jesus.
yeah, I don't know how you get 10 out of that.
Yeah. That was when like Fish Guts was living in the your attic, right?
Fish Guts was living in my attic.
Yeah.
Good days.
Yeah. That was when I almost took that dog that was you were trying to convince us to steal one of your roommate's puppies, I think.
Oh, you know who did take that puppy was
Jesse.
Was Jesse.
No, Jesse took that. He had already taken that puppy's like.
Oh, was I trying
to? Yeah, it was
pawn off another puppy on you?
Yeah, it was the same. It was like a part of that same litter, but it was.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't, because Jesse got the only good one. The rest of them sucked.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, she was kind of mean. And that's what.
All that talk about quitting smoking made me really want to go outside. So let me know if you can still hear me, kid.
Yeah, no, you're good so far. I forgot to bring down my pee jug for this conversation, so.
For your pee jar?
My pee jug, you know.
Oh,
well, that's the problem with this. You know, we're gonna talk for an hour. I already have four beers in me. Unless you have an interesting story that I can run upstairs and pee for.
Unless I have any what interesting stories without you?
Well, no. I mean, you can tell an interesting story about me, and then I'll just be peeing, so you can tell it however you want. So if you.
Oh man, you're just putting me on a spot like that.
Well, let's see. I mean, I can help you out with it. What are we talking about? There was the lady bear story with the hiking down to the water. What else we got? What are some good Alaska stories?
Just find your pee jug, dude. You're stressing me out. You can't just leave me on the air by myself like this.
Enough. I mean, well, I know the pee jug's upstairs. This is my problem, but
you have like a window you could open or something.
No, I'm good. We'll power through it. You know.
Just power through.
What was your favorite spot in Alaska?
Oh man, I don't know. I think Seward was the most like shockingly beautiful, but
Yeah.
I think a lot of that also had to do with like I expected that town to be ugly because it just sounds like sewage.
Yeah.
Or sewer. And then I was just
Homer,
like, wow, this is the most.
The whole drive to Homer was so fucking beautiful.
The whole thing was.
Yeah.
I don't remember a time where I was like, other than maybe Anchorage, where I was like, oh, this is ugly.
And even then, like the first day we got to Anchorage, there was like cloudy and shit, so you couldn't see the mountains. But Anchorage is kind of an ugly city, but when you can see the mountains, it's still pretty beautiful.
I was, I think, preoccupied at that time by the fact that I just come from New Orleans in August, and it was like 40 degrees when we got there, and I was just like, I did not pack for this. I don't think I even owned clothes that I could have packed for this. I'm freezing.
Yeah, that was a weird thing. I mean, I didn't bring a sleeping bag, which is a big issue a lot of nights because we slept in the car so many fucking times that we didn't get down to 30 at night.
You slept? I listened to you snore.
It's therapeutic, man. What is easier to sleep to? I'm like a white noise machine.
Dude, your snoring is not therapeutic.
It is.
I'm glad you feel that way.
You're just doing it wrong. You're just sleeping wrong.
I'm gonna just record that for you next time we go on tour, and then just put it on blast, like on my little JBL next to your head. while you try to go to sleep.
Yeah, and it's Stacy said it was therapeutic, so you're wrong. I have witnesses.
She was lying to you.
Yeah, fair enough. I get it. Fairbanks, have you talked to Johnny Lung since you've been up there? Or Boot? Well, we saw Boot at Muddy Roots the next year, right?
I don't think I've talked to him since Muddy Roots.
Yeah. McCarthy, that was fucking fun. That's like
that drive was insane.
I try to tell people that story, and it doesn't even make it's like it sounds unbelievable that you're in the middle of Alaska, and then you get off of a road that's actually a road and go onto a dirt road for 60 miles. That's kind of crazy time.
It was like 4 hours on that fucking road, and then we got a flat at the end.
Well, we got a flat on the way, but right at the very end that we found out on the way back. That was it was a shit show.
Indeed.
What was the fucking dude's name? What was the tattoo face guy's name? I can't remember.
Tattoo face guy?
Yeah, he rode with us from Fairbanks to McCarthy.
Oh, Max?
Yogi? There you go, Yogi.
Yeah. Yeah. He comes down to New Orleans sometimes.
Yeah.
He's bought a fishing camp down here, but the only time I saw him last time he was down here, he just showed up at my work and then got shit hammered and disappeared.
Yeah. All right.
Which is fine. That's what people come to my work to do, or my work at the time.
Yeah.
But.
So you been writing anything? You been learning any covers? What you been listening to?
I've written exactly one song since this whole thing started, and it was like a week or two ago.
All right. What's it about?
I pulled out so basically I'll get a little hook or a line in my head that I think's good, and then I write it down. And then I just, if I'm at home, which I almost never am when this happens, I'll write it in my notebook for such a purpose. If I'm at work or just running around, I'll write it on just a scrap of paper and shove it into some pants or a wallet or whatever.
Yeah, right on.
And I found a 2-year-old or 3-year-old scrap of paper with a line on it, and I was like, oh, that doesn't suck. And then I wrote a song from it.
Nice. What's it called?
That doesn't have a name yet.
I gotta fucking piss. I'm sorry. I gotta take a break. Tell a story. What are you gonna tell a story about? Fuck. Oh.
I'll tell a story about when we were in Anchorage, or I guess what was it? Our second night, our first night?
Okay.
Well, when we played at that bar that Boot worked at.
Hey, we got him fired. Boom.
Yeah, I'll tell a story about us getting Boot fired.
I love that.
What was the name of that little ski town we went out to that night? Before all this. Oh, you're not gonna help me out at all. Shit. Okay. So, I believe this was our first night. We got into Anchorage. We meet up with Boot at his mom's house. He's fixing up an RV for Days and Days, and they're playing. I'm trying to remember the name of this little ski town. It's an hour away. It starts with G. It's really beautiful. They're playing there that night. So we're like, well, whatever. We have nothing else to do. We drive out there, get hammered at the Days and Days show, sleep in a car in a parking lot. Then the next day, we're driving back, and there's only one highway between this town that I can't remember the name of in Anchorage. And there's a really bad accident that stopped traffic for hours. And Days and Days abandoned Boots. We pick him up hitchhiking, get stopped in traffic, and then we turn off at a bar we later play called, I believe, the Brown Bear Inn. And we're just killing time. We're playing some songs. And then the people that are there don't want us to leave. So they start buying us pitchers of beer to get us to play more songs. So by the time we leave there that evening, we're pretty drunk. I personally had spent all my money before people had started buying us beers. So I'm drunk and broke. And we drive back to Anchorage, and we're supposed to play this bar in Anchorage that Boot was working at. So the bar is not paying us very much, and they're also not giving us a drink deal. So, of course, we're like, oh, we have to stop and spend what money we do have on like a 24 rack of PBR, I think is what we got. Anyway, we stop at the grocery store on the way to the bar to try to buy this beer. And I think Kevin's card got declined and my card got declined. And then so we're sitting in the car and Boot's like, I'll just go get it. So he goes back into the store to get the beer, and he comes out and he's just waving this like 24 rack or 30 rack over his head like a wild man. And then the box breaks and beer just shoots in every direction across the parking lot, and all of these like tweakers that I hadn't even realized were there, they just come out from their corners and just start being like, let me help you with that, but they're just stealing our beer and running away. So we're just like trying to shoo all these tweakers and like scoop our beer back into what's left of the
You'll
box.
never see three lazy motherfuckers jump out of a car quicker.
Oh yeah.
When you realize what was fucking happening.
When they spent the last of their money on beer in a parking lot in Alaska.
Yeah.
Anyways, we salvage what we can of this. I think it was a 30 rack, or I don't know. It was a case. It's a big case.
Yeah.
We go to this bar. We each have our like one free drink, and then between sets we're like just going out to the parking lot and drinking beer out of the back of our rental SUV.
Yeah.
And then well, we got pretty drunk.
I think we had to call in a fucking cab to get home, right?
Well, yeah, I think we only made like $150 or something, and we had to spend like half that on a freaking cab in Anchorage because we got back in the rental. Well, not like we should have been driving anyway, but we got back in the rental and realized that the lights on this rental car that we had didn't work. So we called a cab and went back to the bar the next day to get our car, and they fired Boot because a band that he hired and him were all getting drunk in the parking lot on outside liquor. And then Boot just came on tour with us, I think, for like a week.
Yeah, pretty much.
So that was that.
Yeah.
So immediately just start doing damage.
That's and Boot wasn't with us for the Whitewater Festival near Hope, right? Because that was another good story. Now that I don't have to piss so bad, I can remember that liquor store in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, the Moonshiner Shack.
Yeah. So we have a Friday night off, and our friend Johnny Lungs tells us, hey, you should just come. There's this Whitewater Festival, like Days and Days is playing, whatever. There's kegs of beer. There's free beer. Don't worry about bringing beer. Just come and you can busk and, make a little bit of money busking. And we're
he said we could play, but he also said we can't pay you.
Yeah, okay.
Because the budget's maxed out already. We can't pay you, but you can get drunk for free on your night off.
We drive out to this place and we drive in, almost get fucking stuck. It's like, there's some crazy road in the middle of literally fucking nowhere.
And it's been raining for days.
Yeah.
So it's just all mud.
We're like, oh, people, where's the beer? Like, people say, John Lungs told us there'd be beer. And everyone's like, you didn't bring beer? And everyone starts laughing as soon as they hear that.
It's like, oh, we're not tapping the keg till tomorrow night, or the kegs or whatever.
And you Google, like, where's the nearest gas station? It's 2.5 hours away. A 2.5 hour drive. It's like, you motherfuckers. But there's a gas station, there's a house.
It's not a gas station. It is
house.
The Moonshiner Shack.
40 minutes away, where they have cases of beer and some liquor, but random. They had Lagunitas IPA, I believe. I don't think they had much other beer. They might have Budweiser or something, but they didn't have. They had like Lagunitas and not much normal, like not much shitty beer per se.
Well, when we show up and there's nobody there. There's a sign on the door that says like, if no one here, call this number. So, I think it was Mal. Mal went to call the number. In the meantime, this lady runs out. There's all these trailers behind it. This lady runs out of one of the trailers, and she's like, "Hey, are you here for gas or liquor?" We're like, "Liquor." She's like, "Can't help it." She disappears again. Mal calls the dude. He's like, "Oh, I think my brother's there. You go knock on the door of like the third trailer back to the left." So Mal, while he's on the phone with this guy, climbs up these steps to knock on the door of the trailer, but they're like, it's just like boards on cinder blocks. So he like knocks on the door and no one answers. Then he tries to lean to look through the window, and the whole thing just came toppling down. And he just like eats shit into the bushes while he's on the phone with this guy. And he's like, okay, I'll be back there in like 10 minutes. So he comes back and lets us in, and it's just like this. What do you think? How big was that place? Maybe like 5x8 or something.
Yeah, something like that. It's a very small fucking little.
But it's
shack.
like half of a counter pulled out of like a normal business, and then like a shelf with just like a really random assortment of liquor, and one little fridge that had like some random 12 packs in it.
Yeah. And then a case, they had like a case, like a stack of like 3 cases of Lagunitas IPA 12 packs. Because I think that's what we ended up getting, like a bunch of the 12 packs.
Something like that.
Yeah.
But what I remember was that nothing was labeled at all. Like there's no prices on anything. So it's like you, me, Mal, Johnny Lungs,
and Dirty.
And Dirty.
That's who took that ride.
Yeah. And we all like 5 of us at once start asking us, like, how much is this? How much is this? Can we get a deal on this if we buy this? Like, you want to throw in a bottle of that if we get all this shit? And I think we just overwhelmed them to the point where
everything was super overpriced. But like, I think Johnny Lungs and Dirty in particular conned him into getting enough free shit that it turned out that we got stuff for a normal price. You know, like it was like. It was like I don't know, like $30 or $20 12 packs or whatever. You know, a bottle that should be $30 was like $50, but we ended up leaving and getting enough shit for free that it was like a decent deal in the end. You know?
We got like 24 Lagunitas and a bottle of whiskey, and then he just threw in a free bottle of like vodka, I think, to get rid of us.
Yeah.
Or something.
My favorite part about that was that I was driving on the way there, and I didn't know Dirty at all. Like, I just met him a couple of minutes before at the festival. And while we're driving there, it was like a 40-minute drive. I'm driving the car, and you guys are passing around that bottle of Jameson. And he hands it to me. And I'm like, fuck it. You know, like, I'm sipping from a bottle of Jameson while I'm driving. That's not normal. I've never done that. This is the only time I've ever done that, you know? And then later on, when he's talking about renting us his van, because our ride fell through that night, you know, and he's like, oh, I have this conversion van I can rent to you guys. And I was, you know, we're like, yeah, of course, that'd be great if we can have that. And he's like, well, I saw you drive, and you're a very responsible driver. So, you know, I feel comfortable, you know, giving this to you. And it was like, you saw me drink out of a Jameson bottle while I was driving. That's the most, the most irresponsible thing. Like, what is your idea of a responsible driver? If responsible drivers are just sucking out of a bottle of fucking Jameson while they're driving, that's crazy.
And you're the one that handed it to me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly, you know, but who the fuck knows? I don't know. Let's go back, man. When you want to do it next summer? Can we do? You know, is that possible?
I mean, let's see. Are there still gonna be bars left next summer, or like a country that we live in? I don't fucking know.
I mean, maybe we should just fucking beeline it for there now, and hole up, and
Maybe we should bring the coronavirus to them.
To Alaska? No. Why would we do that? That'd be crazy. Why don't we just go there before we get it? I don't know.
All right, cool. I'm buying my plane ticket right now.
All right.
I'm still banned from Canada.
Oh shit! Yeah, we can drive through. Huh. All right.
Hide me in a trunk or something. I don't know.
There you go. Smuggle Lawrence across the border. We can put you in a mummy. We'll put paper mache around you like a mummy, like you're a prop. You know what I'm saying?
Or a priceless artifact. You mean?
Or a priceless artifact. Okay, like a priceless artifact. And then we'll get you across the border that way. And then once we get you into Canada, or once we get into Alaska, you'll have to stay in that, I guess, the whole time we drive through Canada, because it'd be too much work to wrap you up again. And then we'll break you out once we cross the border into Alaska.
Dude, sounds like a plan.
All right, I'm into it. I'll text Mal as soon as I'm done with this. We'll see what he thinks.
John's bringing me tequila. What are you doing?
I'm on 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. I'm halfway through 10, so I don't know. I haven't hit the liquor yet. You want to do a shot? Is that what you want to do?
Oh, I just did one. Fuck.
Okay. All right.
Before we sign off.
I would have went and got a shot before we signed off, but you already.
I didn't even know that was an option. It's not called 15 beers and maybe a shot on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah, I don't know. You know, I have no fucking control. What the fuck do I know? Remember when you guys hiked up a mountain and saw a bear almost kill people?
I don't think it killed people, but it kind of looked like it was going to.
Yeah.
That was terrifying.
All right.
Do you remember when you thought you were going to hike with us and you gave up after like 50 yards?
Okay, it was fucking, a fucking 60-degree incline. There were signs that were like, bears are going to kill you, and then there were other signs that were like, there might be live mortars,
explosives,
explosives. Yeah, I was like, all right, maybe we can sit in the car,
Well, if anyone's actually listening to this, what was the name of that town? It started with a G.
It was it a G?
I brought it up earlier in the story about how we got boot fired because that's where we were the night before that happened.
That's where we saw Johnny Longs and Days and Daves that first night. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. What was the name of that? What's the name of that town?
Ski town. Fuck.
It's a little ski town. It's like an hour east of Anchorage, I want to say.
Girdwood.
Girdwood. Nice.
Boom.
Yeah, I think it's Girdwood. So we were there, and it wasn't the night we saw Days and Days. We went back because we played a bar there later in our time.
No, I think it was the day after we played the Brown Bear. Or no, it wasn't. You're right. It was the day we played the bar in Girdwood.
I understand why all these days run together because we were really drunk most of this time. But we were in Girdwood. We had played the night before. I think we just slept in the car most of the time we were there.
We had beds.
You're paying a ridiculous amount for a rental car in Alaska. You can also pay a ridiculous amount for hotels every night.
It was a 3-week tour. We slept in beds maybe 5 days. Maybe.
Yeah, and I think 3 of those were in Seward.
Yeah.
And one of those was on Boots' mom's floor.
Yeah. I think.
Anyway, we played the night before, and then the next morning we woke up and we had been told that way up on this mountain, which in the wintertime is a ski resort, there's a bar up at the top. And they're like, well, you can pay $30 to take like the tram up, or you can hike up, and if you hike up you can just take the tram down for free. So we were like, yeah, we gotta hike up and go to this bar like on the top of this mountain. That sounds fucking awesome. So we just start hiking, and it is like insanely steep, and in the first 50 yards it's like warning, like active bear area, and like warning, there might be live ammunition because
they
sometimes
use mortars to shoot down the avalanches.
We make avalanches on purpose so we don't have worse avalanches, and like all this shit like right at the beginning, and Kev's just like, nope.
I'm gonna go jerk off. I'm gonna go jerk off in a rental car. See you guys later.
Kev goes back to the rental car. Me and Mel stuck it out, but I've done a lot of hiking before, and there was only a couple of miles, but it was just like straight the fuck up. And I remember at the beginning thinking like, I might bring some beers, maybe I'll want some beers while I'm hiking. And by the time we were halfway, it was like we ran out of water. I think I actually physically crawled up part of this thing and then realized there was like a giant bear track next to my face.
What I didn't realize was it was only $20 to get the ride up, and you got 2 free drinks with it. So I should have, like, if I would have waited halfway through and just taken the fucking gondola up and been on my second beer while you guys were there, I don't know.
I think we only paid for one round, and then after that, people were like, "Holy shit, you just hiked up that? Like, let me buy you guys a drink." Hell, I think the bartender might have even bought us around.
There you go.
Everyone was just like, "You're fucking insane," which is, in retrospect, they weren't wrong. But then when we were taking the tram down, and you can see there's other trails that don't go all the way to the top. There's like lower, like more like walking trails, and we saw like a couple walking, and then on the other side of this like small stand of trees, we saw a grizzly bear that was like sniffing around, and then he like froze, like he smelled the hikers or something, and then just started charging in their direction. And then we went below a tree line, and we couldn't see it, and everyone in the trail was like, "Oh my
Wasn't
god!"
the
Follow that
operator?
fucking bear!
That wasn't the operator like, ground control. We have a situation in sector
Yeah,
3.
no, the
It's like,
operator was like calling back down to the base, being like, "You need to send someone on a 4-wheeler, like to like this final post on this trail." Like, I think we have a situation. We were like looking at the news the next day, like waiting for like hiker couple mauled by grizzly bear, and we didn't see it. So I guess it was okay, or maybe they tried to keep that shit hush hush.
Hopefully they were all right. I don't know.
I hope they were all right.
And I don't think we ever were in like serious grizzly country. I think we were like in brown bear or black bear. Black bears were like killing everyone.
Maybe it's just the way my memory works, but I remember that bear being quite large.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'm certainly not an Alaska bear expert. I just thought grizzlies
I'm not
were
either.
like,
It
like
looks a lot bigger than the fucking hikers, though.
There are definitely grizzlies in like Denali and up in that neighborhood, but I don't know. I don't know. At least I didn't think down there. But what the fuck do I know? I didn't even see a moose with antlers, so I only
You're
saw
still pissed about that, aren't you?
I only saw a fucking lady moose. Which and hey, there's nothing wrong with lady moose, but
Yeah, why you gotta be sexist about it, dude?
But you want to see the big fucking antlers coming out of the mist, like fucking.
You know what? It's 2020. A lady moose is just as good as a moose antlers.
I just want to see some fucking antlers. Who the fuck knows? Well, you know what? It's been great talking to you. I didn't.
Oh, you're sick of me? You want to do a shot before we go?
All right, let me go get the liquor. I should have done it while you just told that story.
What song are you gonna play when I sign out of here?
All right.
What song are you gonna play when I sign out of here?
Well, my friend Paul Flans is coming up next, so we're doing "Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun." The Beastie Boys. Are you familiar?
He's not in the Beastie Boys.
No, but he doesn't have recorded music to play, but.
All right, bud. You all ready?
Come on, I'm pouring. Hold on. Why you rushing me, son?
Sorry, dog.
Why is there a Dirty Rotten Snake in the Grass song you want me to play at the end of the show?
You can play that metal one that you were talking about.
Which one's that again?
It's called "Ain't Tired of Living." It's like the second to last one on our last album.
So we'll close out the show with that. Lara Hope says, "Love hearing your voice." Lauren, her, miss you.
I love you too, bitch.
All right, cheers, motherfucker.
Cheers.
All right, it was great talking to you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, let's do something again sometime soon. Let's fucking go somewhere and do shit.
Miss you, buddy.
Miss you too. Love you.
Yeah, spread some hugs around for me, or elbow bumps, or whatever we're supposed to do.
I'll do that.
All right.
All right. Later days.
All right, bye.
All right, that was Lauren Jean from Dirty Rotten Snake in the Grass. One of my personal favorites. She's a good one. Hope you guys are doing good. I feel like I started getting a little off kilter during that one. We're going to bring it back home, though. We'll be good. I asked my good friend Paul Flans what song he wanted playing before he came on, and he went with some Beastie Boys. I think Anthrax also covers the song, but we're going to go with the Beastie Boys version. So we'll do that, and then we'll give Paul Flans a call, right? Welcome back to episode 16 of 15 Beers on a Tuesday afternoon. We just talked to Lauren Jean from New Orleans. She made me drink some liquor. Good times. Now we talked to my main man, Paul Flans. See how he's doing down in Queens. I think there's going to be a lot of... We'll talk about Mookie Wilson and shit. Who the fuck knows?
Hello?
Yo, Paul Flans. Oh shit!
Hello?
I can hear you. Hello? Can you hear me?
Okay, hold on. Yeah. I'm kind of like.
You trying to do some weird speakerphone shit? What are you trying to pull?
No. I got. Do you hear me
Yeah, I do.
clearly? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, it's I had the
live stream on.
the live stream on. Yeah, Mike Princess would have hung up on it.
Well, I'm not quite as surly as Mike Francesa. I might fall asleep like Mike Francesa, but I'm not quite as combative.
But I just remember when he used to do that, when someone used to be like, "Oh, turn the mic off, turn your radio off." It's like,
So, Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun, that's a song you wanted to play right before you. That's a great coming to bat song. You think anyone's
that was my, if I could pick one, if I played in the major leagues, that would be
one?
bat every game. Yeah,
first bat every game. I wonder if anyone's ever used that.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a great one.
I would. My go-to would have been Cab Calloway's "Everyone Eats When They Come to My House." Have a banana. I like it's. I don't know. It's a goofy like.
That's a good one. I think there's like the I don't know the intimidation factor plays into that.
Yeah, absolutely. So do you have songs in mind for your other at bats? Because you have to have like pretty much 4 if you're a starter, right?
Well, yeah, I know. Yeah.
Do they ever reuse them? Do they do like the 4th one is the same as the first?
I'm pretty sure if I remember, they have 3 at bat songs, and then it's like they
flips
go back
around
to the first. If I remember correctly. Like I'm trying. The first person I think of is Paul O'Neill, out of all people.
Yeah. Oh, Teenage Wasteland, I remember from him.
And in Teenage Wasteland, Mississippi Queen, which I think Mississippi Queen is sampled in Looking Down the Barrel of a Gun.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah. And something else, and it used to go over again. Like I think you come back to it.
Yeah. I think Teenage Wasteland was always like 3rd. That would always come up. I remember him like when he'd come up with like 2 men on in the fucking 8th inning or something. Like it seemed like that's when it would.
That was number 3.
There. I think that was a big one.
But there's definitely been stuff where I've read up on like this, the like belief in like walk-up songs, and Chicago, I guess, it keeps it traditional. They only have an organ player.
Yeah.
Then,
Chicago. So Wrigley, is that what you're saying? They don't have.
Cummies, yeah, they don't have like particular walk-up music. I don't know if they have something along the lines of they can request something from the organist, but they keep everything.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah.
I've seen one game at Wrigley, and I honestly didn't remember. I guess that just never factored in. I was too.
Yeah, you never hear him from when you're watching it on television too. For some reason.
Yeah. Have you been watching a lot of sports this year?
No, not at all. I mean, I've been following the Mets games.
Yeah.
And I watch them on like the ESPN Gamecast, and I follow along with that. But I'm worried if I get the package with the Mets, it's absolutely going to shut the season down. I'm still like, oh man, how is this going to?
Wait, you're worried about what?
Them shutting the season down.
Yeah.
How long is this going to really go for? What's the reality of this?
Yeah. I thought about that too, like maybe trying to watch Giants games this year.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I pay? You pay for the NFL package? Because it's probably not going to go the full. It's probably not going to work out. Like,
I can't imagine with the amount of contact those guys have.
Yeah, there's no way. Like there's really no way. I don't think.
I mean, there's been issues in baseball where a visiting. I mean, the Marlins are the dirtiest team in all of baseball. Taken after their owner there, I don't know.
Who owns them now? It's not still Loria, right?
No, it's Derek Jeter.
Oh, yeah. Well, whatever.
You know?
I mean, how dirty is Derek Jeter? He's
The women he's been with probably. I don't know. You know?
all right.
He has
fair
quite
enough.
the reputation up here. You know. But like it seems like anyone who gets close to the Marlins catch COVID. You know.
Yeah.
So.
They're the spreader team.
I think it was the Phillies first, and it was the Nationals, and the Mets. It's like AL East team right after they play the Marlins. Like two people come up.
Are you walking around a room while you're talking to me, or what are you doing?
No. Kind of still. Okay. Let me. I'm gonna move to usually where I call from. How's this better?
Yeah, it's better.
Okay.
Are you on? Oh, is it? You're not on speakerphone. You're just like the service gets weird in your house.
Yeah. I'm just making sure I'm in the right spot in the house. That's all.
And you're down in Queens.
Mm-hmm.
And Bayside. You're supposed to go back to school teaching next week. Have they figured out what's going on with that?
Yes. Today is like the big, yes, tomorrow is going to be Wednesday. Well, tomorrow's still going to be Wednesday, but they were going to have the big meeting, and it was kind of going to come down to whether we strike or not.
Yeah.
But today, at about 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning, they finally came to a decision that everyone is, I guess, kind of happy with.
Okay.
So the idea is that we're going back. I'm going to be back at work on next Tuesday.
Okay.
But the kids get pushed back from the 10th, which would have been Thursday, into the 21st.
Okay. So.
Which is a good thing for teachers, I guess. It gives us lots of time to prepare because we don't know what the hell we're doing, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been part of a strike. It would have been interesting to be part of a strike.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's not going to really happen. So
weird things. You're going to show up next Tuesday and get prepared to teach in classroom?
I don't know what my role will be. There's people, I mean, I'm assuming because I never said I wanted to stay home.
Yeah.
I never made an indication that I wanted to, I'm like, I don't feel comfortable coming back.
Okay.
That I probably would be one of the people who would be willing to, who would teach in school.
Yeah.
Basically, the plan is like this. Kids are going to come Monday and Tuesday, meet with their classroom teacher.
Which is you.
Which would be me, hopefully. I mean, they could still say plans go home, teach from home. I don't know.
The kids could, or who could?
No, the administration.
Okay.
New York. I don't know what my role is. I have no clue. I'm still going in blind.
Yeah.
A week to go, I don't know what I'm teaching, who I'm teaching, how I'm teaching.
And are you saying that some teachers might be teaching from home and some might be teaching from the classroom?
Yes.
So you should do some Zoom calls and cough classroom is better for you to an extent, right? It's a little less work.
Well, here's the problem. From what everything that's been described to me has from the perspective of a general education teacher.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mostly, out of my 5 classes, I teach 4 special education.
Yeah.
So the physics one, I wouldn't even know because there's no other physics teacher in my school.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how they would handle that. But just for the sake of, let's say, my Algebra 1 special education class, general education, what they're describing is the teacher would come in, teach Monday and Tuesday. Wednesday would be a cleaning day, prep day for the teachers, and I guess they would clean the school.
And you would do work online during that day. Theoretically,
this is how bad they are. I have no idea what they're
doing. They don't tell you what you're
I
supposed to do.
I haven't been told
that day,
anything.
yeah.
We still haven't had the calendar put out, and I'm guessing because the kids aren't coming back on 21st. I wouldn't be surprised if Christmas was shortened, or one of the breaks was shortened or something like that. Because the kids are going to be losing something I guess I'm looking at
a
the calendar
tremendous
now.
amount of days by doing only 2. Yeah.
Probably 8 days or something like that, Mm-hmm. So that's a whole other thing, So then I would have off on a Wednesday, and then Thursday and Friday I would go back in and teach another group of students.
Okay.
Okay. Kind of what I taught other kids on Monday and Tuesday, I would teach them on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah.
Now, I would be working directly with a co-teacher who would be working from home. So more or less, I'd be like, okay, I'm covering this on Monday and Tuesday, and that person would be like, well, okay, on Thursday and Friday, I will give the students this and this.
Okay,
you know,
so you don't have to. You don't have to. You don't have to double up with those students on the off days.
Yeah. So they'll be like almost like a team of teachers. So there'll be the person who works from home. There's going to be the person who's in the classroom. You know.
Yeah. And you would be the person in the classroom.
Yeah, I'm hoping. I don't know.
Yeah.
They could tell me something different. You know.
Yeah.
So at this
a
point,
week away that's bananas, man.
Yeah, exactly. Because just I would say last Friday they kind of sent this thing out with all the possible roles we could have.
Yeah.
You know, but in that context, just to like preface things from me saying from a special ed standpoint, they didn't mention anything about special ed people.
Yeah.
It was kind of more along the lines of it kind of meant, general ed, you have your typical 35, you can't have more than so many, you can't teach more than so many kids, you would still be protected. It wouldn't be like, oh, now you're teaching more kids because you're not teaching, I don't know.
Yeah. So for your special ed classes, like how many kids are in your general class before this happened?
Okay, so in a special ed, a self-contained classroom that I usually teach, we're by law not allowed to have more than 15 kids in the class.
Okay.
That's the maximum class size, no matter what, no matter where you are. And you have to have 15 kids, and which is okay. It's usually not 15. It's usually more along the lines of 12 or 13.
Yeah. And so maybe sometimes it's 16, and it's not a big whatever. It
is a big deal. If it's 16, you're supposed to report it, and they gotta make adjustments for that and stuff like that.
Okay.
And it's usually at the beginning of the year. Sometimes it is a little weird like that.
But usually it's under. Okay.
Yeah, it's usually under. But still, those are the kids who need more hands-on work and who really that hurts them with the online learning. Those kids are really the ones who really are going to suffer.
So last year, when it all of a sudden in March went to online learning, you have all these classes. How did that work out? Is it possible to teach the same kids? Because you were forced to do it right away, right? Right? Was it March?
Yeah. It was like, well, they kind of. I mean, other people have had instances where they were first giving them busy work, other districts, but New York City kind of took the line of we're going to continue classroom education, just do it online.
Okay.
And they weren't prepared for it. It was a lot of talk. It wasn't really anything feasible at that time.
Yeah.
And so they had us, we were doing full online stuff, and which was difficult for the kids because the kids. I mean, I always said I wish we had an extra few days to work with the kids in the classroom, though it was unhealthy. To taught them how to go online. Here's where the work is going to be.
Exactly.
And, it took some of my kids probably 3 weeks more. To figure out okay, this is where I got to log in every day. Every day.
It's like a catch-22 kind of where if you could have had a week in class with the kids. To teach them how to be an online student. That would have, And
it took some of these, students. It took forever, and I think there was the intimidation factor, the access to technology, all this stuff that was going crazy, And now we're coming back, and we're really not any more prepared than we were in June.
Yeah. I think because everyone seemed to be hoping that things would just be normal.
Yeah, I guess that would be the real thing. I mean, the whole idea is, not to go on a political rant here, but definitely de Blasio, our mayor down here,
wants to open schools. His statement was something along the line of easing the burden on parents, and I understand that too. But I don't even know if this really eases the burden on parents. Because if you think about it, your kids go to school 2 days a week. Is that really give you time to work? What if you have elementary school? I mean, I teach high school, so I'm assuming most of my kids can stay home without burning down the house. But what if you have elementary school kids, and stuff like that, and it's insane. They're still going to have to find health care child care for
Probably,
the other 2 days that they're not there, 3 days. Yeah, absolutely.
3 days. 3 days out of the week.
I think it points out like we just don't have a good system for especially for parents and for child rearing. You know what I'm saying? Like
right.
Our medical care, like you and me are like single dudes that like kind of live on the fringes to an extent. Like, but if you have kids. You know, we don't have a good society set up for people to like have kids and have health care and just live normal lives.
I right now I'd probably be shitting myself because I had kids home and I was like a single parent or something like that. I'd have to hope I was one of those online teachers.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Otherwise, what am I going to do? You know?
Bring them into the classroom with you. Can you do that? Like, you know, no, there's no one else in the classroom with you, so why not? I mean, why couldn't they be there theoretically? But
yeah, it's insane. And the other thing is with the conditions. Under certain conditions, they have to close the school and go to remote learning.
Yeah.
In New York City. Yeah.
Okay. So you talk about it. Yeah.
Okay. So in New York City, the current infection rate is 1.3%.
Okay.
Which I don't know if it's low or high or what that means necessarily to the general population.
Fair enough.
But basically, according to the school's chancellor's rules, if you have one student who has this, any class that student participates in has to go online for like 14 days. You're basically put into quarantine for 14 days. Go home, you're learning online. If there's 2 students in the school, they have to close the school until they do contact tracing and find out everyone's been in contact with.
Jesus.
Now, I work in a small high school. We have 500 students. So at 1.3%, we're talking about 5 or 6 kids.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you have it walking in the first day of school. You know?
So it's going to shut down day one, you know?
Well, it's how they do the testing. It's very much, the Trump University School of Mathematics here.
Well, yeah.
They're going to
if you don't do any testing, then you don't have any.
Right. You don't have any.
Not a lot of people have it if you don't test them. Hey.
Yeah, we have 0%. It looks great. We're doing fine. But what's really happening is that they're going to do random testing.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know
exactly. Like fucking baseball players for steroids?
What? Yeah, more like that. Yeah.
Hey kid, move over. Hey kid, you look a little sneezy. Get the fuck over here. We're gonna shove this shit up your nose. All right.
Yeah. And
hey, little Jose Canseco, get the fuck over here.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. It's so any student who refuses it has to be sent home.
Wow. And, okay, if you were a high school kid, immediately.
Right?
No. My religious beliefs.
Yeah. I don't know. Right. I don't know how I'm going to react when they stick I still haven't got tested, so I don't. Yeah. That swab thing, the way they describe it, I don't know. I could picture gagging. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, but I don't know how I'll be able to.
But kids, like, of course, like, I can leave if I cough and say I'm not going to take this test. I'm fucking out. Of course I'm out.
Their number's going to get called, at some point during the school year, and the idea will be, okay, you're being tested. And if they refuse, they're like, I'm not getting tested. I don't want to get tested. They have to go home. Teachers are suspended without pay if we refuse to be tested.
Wow. Huh?
Yeah.
And the students, if they refuse to be tested, they sent home, and they can't come back?
I think they have to go fully remote until they can agree to.
Okay, wow.
And there's a percentage of the DOE who are opting out. The DOE gave
Department of Education, right?
Yeah, Department of Education gave teachers and parents and students the option to opt out and go full remote.
Yeah.
And there's another group of teachers who are just going to be doing that.
Okay.
So
if you like, say you tested positive, right?
As a teacher?
Yeah, as a teacher. Can you be like, I'll just teach from remote? Or
I don't know.
What do they
know,
do? Do they suspend you? Do you still get paid?
Well, I have sick time and stuff like that, so I'm sure.
So you'll have to use your sick time for that?
Yeah. There's so many questions, Kevin, that are unanswered that, like, the idea that them rolling this out is it's insane,
Super late, it's no one knows what the fuck's going on. It's like poorly run. I think
I wouldn't be surprised if by early October we've already folded things up and going back to remote learning.
It's like everything. Well, when you get everything so fucking politicized, nothing can run properly. Like nothing is run, with the best ideas. They're run by like, oh, if you think this, then you must be fucking this kind of fucker. Like you know,
and that's the type of thing. Like, see, I mean, we get like hints of it here in New York City when there's a snow day, and it's such a big deal when the principal, the mayor calls a snow day.
Yeah.
Because suddenly all the students are home and businesses can't operate and blah blah blah. You get all this stuff, and he comes under so much pressure for those, and especially if he calls a snow day like prematurely, and we don't really have that much snow. It's like, oh, it's the winter. Those types of snow days, like those are like the worst, and he takes a lot of heat for that.
Well, this is one of those instances where why don't we make sure parents make enough fucking money to take a fucking day off if they need to? Or have childcare if they need to. Like, why don't we make sure that we live in a world where people can have kids and they're taken care of if they, don't have school for a couple days? Like, it's bananas. It's like there's no reason to live like this. Like, in my opinion.
I mean, that's the example of a once every year, maybe twice a year snow day. Yeah. Now we're talking about like the COVID thing where it's months.
Yeah.
So like. And, the whole pressure of, like, New York being shut down, is such a, people are losing money and jobs and businesses, by the day. And I mean, I understand where he's coming from. It's like, get this open and that financial pressure, but, there's all this talk about what's going on here. How are we going to, I mean, a lot of the talk is just, is New York ever going to be the same again? Are we, still going to be like that, financially, they would say the financial engine of the United States, I don't know, it's such a, like, it's all these businesses, leaving, I'm even wondering what the students coming back to school are going to be like, as far as like parents moving out of town, just not being able to find jobs down here, work down here.
Yeah. Oh, you think the enrollment will be less?
Like my kids who are from like the poorer backgrounds, which I teach in the public school, so a lot of them are, like their parents are like, chefs and, they're working not high-end chefs, they're working in a restaurant, they're cooking in a restaurant. They're a house cleaner, like if that stuff is drying up, like they can't afford to live here, like, what are you going to do, I mean, I guess I have, kids who, have many parents who work from home now and stuff like that, but I know a lot of parents who don't, So it's very, very, like, the whole, like, nature of this, like, pandemic and how it affects people in so many
New York City especially, it's very... I mean,
it's
teachers
really,
and New York City especially is very fucking brutal, like,
it's, I was hoping for a strike. I was like, oh, okay, it would be nice to have an extra couple of weeks of vacation.
And on vacation, what are you doing? You're modding amps and fucking modding pedals?
I'm modding pedals right now. Actually, I today I was working on a Boss Metal Zone that I've been working on, and it's like 1990s style. I guess it's supposed to give you like that Dimebag Darrell like story.
All right, I remember the Metal Zone vaguely, but yeah,
but it sounded like shit.
Okay, and so
like it's become a popular one to mod, and I bought the like capacitors. Someone sold me a kit of like all the capacitors and that you have to change in it, and what else? You put a switch in and a diode in it, so you have to change it up. Which is cool, and it's fun, and it's fun to play around with these things, and especially because...
You got it sounding good?
Actually, right now I kind of have it laying. I ran out of solder, and it's if anyone who knows this type of pedal, it actually, which sounds impossible, sounds worse than it used to.
Ian Fuller is nodding disapprovingly at you. Not in the chat. I just can feel it from my bones.
Yeah, I just ran out of solder. I think I accidentally soldered two capacitors together, so it started making these like wild noises. It was kind of fun, like kind of solder, but but I'm learning and it's fun. I mean, it's something actually I take to school a lot. These ideas, like with working with it, because with the physics class,
Yeah. Okay.
Like kids love the class for like these 2 days I have in the classroom. I have one where I just bring an electric guitar and an amp into the classroom.
Oh, wow.
And that day the kids go freaking crazy, They love it.
Yeah.
Because one of the things.
And what are you playing? Can you do riff raff? Because that's a kind of hard riff.
I can do the main riff from riff raff.
Yeah. You can do that? Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's not too crazy. It's just, well, you have to get it down, but it's just because you don't have to really move your hand because it's always like the power chord.
I know.
And you don't really move from there. But I don't even play that much. What I do is as the kids come in, I'll play a little bit, and when they come in, whatchamacallit, we'll talk about the guitar. That's like they do now, that board work. Like, how's the guitar making a signal that sends it to an amplifier? The idea of like it's an interesting thought. It's maybe one of my first lessons on electromagnetic induction. Like creating electricity from magnets, and that's like a perfect example of it. And so we talk about it. And so for 5 minutes, the kids are asking questions and wondering how I'm trying to explain to them, the electric guitar has no power cable, has no batteries in it. It's just, it doesn't have an obvious power source, but somehow I'm creating electricity. How is that working? And then like talking about it and trying to figure it out. And then like after, first 5-10 minutes of that, then I'm like, I don't want to play this anymore. Someone else play it. And like, just let the kids for the next 40 minutes, like play that thing. They love it, that's the rest of the period. I just sit back and watch, and they're just, are playing the guitar, and I always think about it. And I personally, I remember when I was a kid, like a little kid, probably like 13, I would go to like a Sam Ash, and I would pick up a guitar and plug it into an amp, and the salespeople would get so fucking pissed at you, Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You want to buy something? Where's your mom and dad? Like that type of shit. So like to me, the idea of like, okay, here, no, fuck with it. Do whatever you want. I had this old like Stratocaster that I had it back when we were living, in college. It's a little piece of shit. Probably like but I use it as like my experiment guitar. Whenever I'm like, trying to figure out how to do something on a guitar, I'll do it on that guitar first. So if I mess it up, it doesn't really matter. So I just take it. I usually, the day before, I threw some new strings on it. I have this little practice amp I bring in, and the kids it's just like, and then my other classes, when they come in, they say, oh, an electric guitar? And I'm like, yeah, go play it. And like that, like for that day is like my day off. It's great.
You're the cool teacher.
Yeah, once, yeah. And then a few weeks later, what I do is I bring the guitar, the amp, and I bring my pedal board in. And when we start talking about waves, and the idea how
for the physics class.
Yeah, for the physics class, and it ends up being the other classes too. It's just so tempting to be like,
I got a pedal board.
Because the kids are so like enamored with the idea of, I need to grab a guitar and play it. Yeah, go ahead. Like do whatever you want. And they love hitting the pedals and making all the noises. And the idea, with a nice, like a pedal board, the idea of, manipulating the waves, the sound waves in a certain way, or the electrical impulses to create different types of sounds, and they just love that shit, And I said, I always think it's like that. I'm also giving them the opportunity to just, make stupid fucking bad noise on a guitar, and that's great, Like you never get to use that. And so many kids like come back to me later, like, oh, I'm gonna buy a guitar now.
Well, you have a kid that's remixing Injustice for All, right?
Yeah. Oh, he's a drummer. You'd like him. He's one of my special ed kids. He's like the most hyperactive human being I've ever met. And like drums are like the perfect thing for him.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
more hyperactive than Danny Pickles.
Yes, by far, not even very close.
All right. Then yeah, I'm sure he's a very good drummer.
Yeah. I mean, and yeah, so he's always into like drums and stuff like that. But then like he starts playing with GarageBand a lot, and so his whole idea was remixing.
Yeah.
I guess someone did for And Justice for All. They did a Justice for Jason.
Yeah,
which is a remix
put some bass
of,
in. Yeah.
Yeah, and he doesn't like that. He thinks that's overdone. So his mission recently has been to remix And Justice for All his way. And
so where does he get the original tracks? Is it you find those online?
Yeah, I guess what he's doing is I know he was able to get the original individualized track. Somehow you can
whatever
get
they're called.
Like the guitar left track, guitar right, the drums, the bass, and stuff like that somewhere. I don't know how he does it, how he got it, but he's been sending me for the past couple of weeks like his remixes of certain songs, and he's like, oh, I think he's just having fun and learning with it, which is cool. He's actually he's graduated like over a year ago. So yeah, so it's okay that he sends you stuff.
I've done a lot of time driving across this country, and like there was a time I was driving out to Pennsylvania right after Trump got elected, and I'm driving through central Pennsylvania to meet up with Husky Burnett to play, drums for his blues act.
Yeah, I remember him. Yeah.
And it's just a fucking gray November day, and I put on Injustice for All, and that like the tightness and the fucking compression on that fucking album. I'm like, I am listening to the perfect fucking album for driving through Pennsylvania right now. Like that album is meant for driving through the middle of Pennsylvania on a gray November day.
I remember I blew out I had this like shitty stereo, and I blew out a set of speakers on that album. It's that type of album. It has its moments. I mean, I always thought that the like lack of bass was more of like an artistic choice.
Yeah.
Like that was just where they went with it. It was maybe being experimental, like maybe make it the way it sounded, because they certainly did some shit like that on what's that? The Saint Anger one with the movie, right? The one they did with the movie.
Yeah.
Like that's definitely, I don't know what they were thinking with the sound of that one, but
yeah.
But the idea that some they might do something.
Justice for All sounds good. There's sure there could be more bass or whatever, but it was, I don't know. I remember I don't know where you were when you saw the Enter Sandman video, but I was in my friend Tom Zowski's house. And it was all of us sitting around, like on couches, the chairs. I was sitting on the floor, and MTV premiered it, and we were like, okay, yo, what's going on? And that was after Injustice, so it was and I remember watching it and just kind of glancing, because I was young. I was like 11th grade or whatever. I was insecure as fuck. I'm glancing at everyone around me like, is this good? Because I don't think it's good. It was just like what does everyone else think? And I honestly think we got up and we're like, oh, that was cool. And then we all left and we're like in our own insecurities. We're like, was that really cool? No, it was garbage compared to anything off Injustice. You want to say Blackened to Enter Sandman? You're out of your fucking mind. Like,
right. It's definitely that. I mean, you can't even put it
Harvester of Sorrow or Enter Sandman. No, you're out of your fucking mind if you think they're in that's not. They shouldn't even be the same band.
I just, when I got that album, I just remember thinking like, okay, it's not the I don't know, like as smart as the previous albums. Like it almost like they dumbed it down. I think to a point where we're not going to have a 9-minute song with 18 different riffs in it. They were more like, okay, let's just put it together like normal people put it together songs with like 3 riffs and a chorus and a verse and go like that. And I wasn't like totally like down on the Black Album.
I know a lot of people loved it, but I don't know. It wasn't.
And at that point, I had to see Metallica live. And it was fun during the that Black Album tour to see them. I saw them. They played Nassau Coliseum 3 nights in a row, And I got to see him 2 of those 3 nights. Like 2 nights in a row, I saw Metallica live.
Okay, I had seen them. I think I saw them on Injustice.
Yeah.
And then I saw them on the Black Album. But the Black Album was like Suicidal Tendencies and Danzig opening, right?
Was that it? I thought it wasn't. Okay, no, I'm thinking of something else. It was one of those things like
the Cult opening. I think was Injustice in my. I think I saw them with the Cult opening.
Was it Slayer and Testament for? I remember one tour. See, I had this friend who I could get to go to concerts, but it would always have to be like certain bands. And I just remember when Injustice came, I knew he liked Metallica, but whatever it was the opening band. He was just like totally like, I don't know, you know.
I think Injustice, like, because Jim Tinger, fucking, God that he is, he saw them do the Master of Puppets at the fucking Civic Center with Ozzy as headliner. Ozzy as headliner. Them as backup, and so that was like, just that. If you ever seen Cliff 'Em All, where they do all the fucking the graves on the stage. Yeah, that was. They did that at the fucking Civic Center, and I was like,
that must have been.
It was like right before like I was old enough to go to thrash metal shows,
Yeah, so like I would like get my friends to go see certain shows, but there was always like that one like band, like if he was like I don't know, weirded about, we wouldn't go see him,
Yeah. Okay. So so what? He would go see.
Like I think I wanted him to go see. I think I thought when they hit Nassau Coliseum, like Testament opened for them, or someone, maybe it was Queensryche, I don't know. And he didn't like the first band, so he's like, I don't know what he had a problem with it. So I couldn't get him to go. But I really loved Metallica. But when Metallica came around on the Black Album, they didn't have an opening act. They just did like this little movie, and he was all about it. Like. Yeah, I'm let's see. And then I don't know. I just always trying. Long Island is a weird place to like see shows, though.
Yeah, I mean every place is.
Well, I just think about my youth and like what my friends were into, and like trying to get them to like I would be more into like certain bands and like Metallica and Slayer. I'd be like, oh, let's go see them, and they'd be like, but they'd all be always like, oh, Van Halen's in town.
Yeah. Are we losing it? Am I step on something and shit?
Yeah, I'm good. I just went to get up to grab another beer, and I pulled my my headphones out of my phone.
Do you think that like there'll ever be a time like that again? Like our we grew up. I'm 74. You're what?
74.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that late 80s thrash was like such a great time for rock and roll, in my opinion. Like you had Metallica, Slayer, all that shit. Like, do you think? And we all bought the albums. I owned Appetite for Destruction 4 times. Like. Like hard copy.
Yeah. Like you had the cassette and you fucking wore it down.
Yeah,
the wheels fell off, and
we would bootleg shit. Like you would give people, bootleg copies of albums, but it was like still, you would go to the shows, you support, you were spending a lot of money on the bands, in particular. Do you think it'll ever be like that again? Like I don't know.
I don't see. Like it's funny not being in it. Like I don't. What does a like a 16-year-old who would potentially be exposed to that music think about it? I have this kid in one of my classes, in one of my special ed classes. He's not the kid who's remixing Injustice for All, but he's like the trench coat wearing, black hair type kid.
Columbine kid, right?
Yeah, he's not that type. He's not violent,
okay.
but like the music he's into is like Slipknot, Marilyn Manson. He likes.
And that's weird in this because he's 20 years behind his time.
Yeah. And I thought that. I mean, I guess people really love Slipknot. It's just the mask thing gets me with that band. Like if they wouldn't wear a mask, I would buy an album just to hear what they would sound like. Yeah. But once the mask, it's like that's it, man. No, I can't wear that. It's ridiculous.
You're just not into it. But Gwar, you'll listen to the shit out of, huh?
Well, that's a different story because that's the masks are part of the like ridiculousness of Gwar.
Yeah. Okay.
While this is supposed to be like that frightening or shocking element, like the ridiculous. When it comes to the point where it's like campy, it's okay. You gotta
give me 2 seconds. I had to grab a beer or two.
Yeah. Okay. Good,
I'll be right back though.
I don't know. I'm not going anywhere. What I got? No.
Paul Flans playing Riff Raff?
Yeah, that's me.
Killer, man. Sounds great.
I even have the SG out today. It's perfect.
So are you going after a Malcolm Young kind of fucking guitar sound?
No. You can't. Those guys, Malcolm and Angus Young, were just Marshall amps, like SG, and he played Malcolm played the Gretsch straight into. That's it.
Malcolm played the Gretsch into the Marshall into like a fuzz box or something. Like
no, not even that. No, they were straight up. No pedals. They never had any pedals. Actually, there's a company which actually makes a pedal now. So for the sound, what happened is Angus was going to record something, and he's like, "There's something wrong with the tone," and they like haven't changed their fucking setup in 50 years.
Yeah.
And he was like, he couldn't figure it out, and he's plugging in straight in on a cable into the Marshall, and he's like, I don't know what's wrong, and they switched to amps like the old amps that they used to make sure they weren't, and they couldn't figure it out. And what they figured out, this guy started researching the tone, and he realized that on stage, Angus wears a wireless system, so he can run around and do all his, duck steps or whatever he does, and flying around. So he wears a wireless system, and that does something particular to his tone in the way, and he used to record it in the studio. Like in the studio, he would even wear the wireless system.
Gotcha. Weird.
And so this guy actually, they came up with a pedal that I guess there's some slight compression or a slight something it does to his guitar tone.
Yeah.
That is, critical to emulate that. I think he might have that pedal in his system, like today. Whatever that happened with that old, radio control unit he used.
Yeah. Huh. And I mean, Angus is still playing, right?
Yeah. Malcolm's passed away.
Yeah.
They actually recorded an album. They recorded an album this past, I think, winter. They got Brian Johnson back, Bill Rudd, Cliff Williams, Angus. They got their nephew who was playing on tour with them, I guess, the past couple of years.
Yeah, okay.
And I guess what they did is they found, because those guys were prolific in like just writing riffs and shit like that, and so they found a whole bunch of like Malcolm's old shit, and they started writing music together. They put the album together.
Oh wow! And his old riffs. Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So they're using lots of Malcolm's old riffs, because that was like the writing process, the two brothers writing together, and then they brought it to the rest of the band. And the other guys have always been like hired guns, and so they got the classic lineup, basically, without Malcolm, and I think they have it pretty much done. but they don't want to release it this year. They're gonna wait till they can start possibly. They want to open it, get it out, and then do a huge, crazy tour with it. Yeah.
I went through a delivery shift. I don't know. It was probably like 2 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I started with Riff Raff, like, because I heard Scott Ian talk about it. That was his favorite song.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
So I listened to Riff Raff. So then I listened to that full album.
Powerage, right?
Powerage, yeah.
That might be the best album. That might be the best album.
I did a delivery shift where I listened to almost the full Bon Scott discography in one delivery shift, and I just went from album to album and album, because they're not long albums, and it was holy shit. I like Highway to Hell was my first introduction to them.
That's a great one.
I think it's, and then Back in Black is such a good, there's so many hits on Back in Black.
I mean, almost the perfect album.
But it doesn't have the, raw dog of, Highway to Hell or Beating Around the Bush or, fucking Night Stalker. Highway to Hell has that darkness to it.
What's the one I love of If You Want Blood?
If You Want Blood, I love that song. Yeah, that's fucking. It's so good, man.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. It's I don't know. Bon Scott is, he was the rock and roll front man. Back in Black is the best, one of the best rock and roll albums of all time.
I think it's the number 2 or number 1 all-time selling
Highway to Hell, it's Bon Scott. Or, Riff Raff. What? What are you even fucking doing, man? The whole album, Live Itch, is fucking killer.
What's the one? What's the one with he plays the fucking bagpipe song?
Oh, that's it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
Come on, how do you do that? That's why you still rock playing the bagpipes. Yeah. That whole era, if you go down the AC/DC rabbit hole, there's a lot of fucking music. They have, I think it's something it's 14 hours or 24 hours of music. If you count all their newer stuff and everything like that, and
they have Axl Rose singing at some points.
Yeah. That was when Brian Johnson left because his hearing, got messed up or something like that. I don't know. It's so interesting with I was. You know who Eddie Trunk is?
No, I don't.
He was definitely bigger in the 80s, 90s. He was a rock journalist, and he definitely handled a lot of the the metal bands at that time. And he's
Hit Parader,
kind of that type of guy.
Correct.
But definitely he was if there was a some sort of on site, a big festival, and he would be at Donington or something like that, and he would be one of the on site reporters, and he was a writer, and just the whole concept of who owns these bands' names, and I think it was Quiet Riot. There wasn't even an original member of the band.
Yeah,
the drummer is the drummer who passed away a couple of weeks ago. Was the only one who owned the name, because somehow he just finagled his way until never selling his stick.
Jeff, whatever is going on, he's the only one that can do Operation Mindcrime.
Right.
But the rest of the band can do their other catalog, and it's weird.
So
shit.
It becomes these weird, because they own the name, if you own the name to Motley Crue, let's say. I don't know, the second singer they had, that guy, if he owned the name for some reason, he could still tour as Motley Crue. And they're not have anyone in the band and no one realized who they are,
Yeah.
And so it's always interesting with those bands and how they operate. And I was thinking AC/DC, Brian Johnson. There was rumors that Brian Johnson didn't have ear problems, that he was just they got sick of him and they let go of him to bring in Axl Rose, and then went back and forth. But it's really, it's not like a band, 4 guys playing in someone's garage anymore. It's a business,
Yeah. I mean, once you get to the point of they're as big as AC/DC or Guns N' Roses,
Yeah. Well, I mean, Guns N' Roses is Axl Rose. That, even though Slash came back and Duff McKagan came back and they kind of did that reunion tour. It's still the band belongs to him. Those guys
but
are
no one
salary
gives a
musicians.
shit. No one gives a shit.
Yeah.
Like
but
they'll
those guys
never
salary
be.
musicians.
They'll never be the Appetite Band, the
No,
live at the Ritz, live at Donington. They'll never be that band.
No,
but yeah, and
he can generate interest by hiring those guys back. They make him more profits, and when he's sick of them again, he'll fire them.
I don't think he's wrong to fire him. Like, if you really look at it, they were fucked up. Like. I wouldn't want to try to corral a bunch of heroin addicts. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's Slash. Yeah, you're the best guitar player in the business, but you can't stay awake for fucking, like, that sucks. Like, I don't know.
It's always interesting to read Slash, like, anecdotes. They're like, like the time thought someone was chasing him, and he, like, ran through, he was in, like, some sort of, like, condo off of a golf course. And he was on acid or something like that. And he thought some like lizard was chasing him. So he ran straight through the sliding glass door of the condo into the golf course, completely naked and like passed out. And someone found him like hours later.
Good grief!
Like they were dealing with that.
Yeah. It's
which
fucking
seems
bananas.
fun, but
if you're gonna put a team together. Who would be your starting? Well, let's go 1 through 9. Your best team all time. Starting pitcher.
with baseball.
Yeah,
regular baseball. Major League Baseball.
I mean, softball would obviously be me, but
I know.
we can do softball too.
I want.
Would you rather do softball?
No. Let's not. I'd rather be political and just to go with.
Because you can hurt people's feelings.
My number one.
Ian Fuller. I'm sorry, I'm a better pitcher than you. I don't know.
He is so mad right now. I'm looking here.
It is.
See if I got a text. Did I get a text from him? I don't know.
I mean.
I can't see if I got a text from him.
Regardless.
No, he hasn't said.
You didn't say I was better. It's okay.
I didn't. You said it. I didn't say anything.
But you're gonna go baseball. Baseball. Starting pitcher.
All-time starting pitcher. That I see. Okay. Here's the that I seen or that I know about. You know, I have to go here. Are we talking like
in our era? Like I would say, who's the hottest shit I've ever? Like obviously, fucking what the fuck's his name? That struck out everyone for the Dodgers. Fucking
Sandy Koufax.
I've never seen Sandy Koufax.
Right.
Best
so
pitcher I've probably seen in my life. Pedro Martinez.
Martinez for that 3-year span.
Yeah, Pedro
from like
Martinez.
when he was last year in Montreal and his first maybe 3 years in Boston
was unstoppable. Like Pedro,
I mean, but I think right out there was Randy Johnson though that whole time. You know, like, and then Clemens had his moments. You know, definitely.
Saw him. Like I saw a couple good Clemens games live, but I saw like I don't think it's as good as the Pedro game.
Yeah. No, those guys that it seemed like they were going against each other at least kind of on a psychological level. Yeah. Randy Johnson and Pedro, especially for those years, and then it kind of wore out eventually, like when Pedro started getting hurt, and then for some reason Randy Johnson just shit the bed when he came to the Yankees. Yeah. Which is weird.
Best catcher of your lifetime. Best catcher you've seen.
Overall catcher.
Yeah.
I guess you'd have to go Pudge.
He was.
I was looking at like a ranking. Someone put Carter above Pudge, and I guess I don't remember Carter as much, but I always remember like Carter being like a really solid like middle of the order hitter, but he was like a 270.
It's weird. You know. Because Pudge was in the steroid era, so like the numbers were so jacked the fuck up.
Yeah, right. He had those ridiculous numbers that probably are not real.
Yeah.
But he was always, which I don't know if you necessarily can attribute to steroids. He was a fantastic defensive catcher.
Yeah, he was good. Yeah. I mean, was Carter though too, right?
Yeah. Carter was very good too. Yeah.
Oh,
but I just remember how like if like you look at Yadier Molina today. And Yadier Molina, as an offensive player, is at best an average player. Like if he played, let's say, second base and was a middling second baseman, who average second baseman, you wouldn't even know his name.
Okay.
But he plays fantastic. But
he's
defense,
a great defensive catcher.
Yeah, and so he's always an all-star, and he's loved. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he ends up in the Hall of Fame one day. You know what I mean?
Hey, he hits for shit, huh?
Yeah, he's had some good years, but he's not like he's not like those, prime Pudge years, where he was hitting 300 with 30 home runs.
Or even Posada years.
Yeah, right. He's never even had a season like Jorge has. Jorge's problem was his defense.
He was shit. He was garbage, yeah.
But he was such a consistent offensive hitter. Like you knew you got a switch hitter sitting there. He's going to hit you 25 home runs, 280, year in, year out.
I mean, almost Piazza. Piazza as well. Like we talk about him, he was,
Well, Piazza's even more of a.
He was a much better hitter than Jorge.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing is that.
I remember those.
Would have played at any position.
Those Subway Series games. He was ferocious. I understand why. I understood why Clemens hit him.
Because
he was gonna hit a fucking home run and win the fucking game. So why don't you fucking hit him?
Don't even go through the whole fucking drama. Save yourself some pitches for later.
Yeah. I don't know. It was bananas. Benny Agbayani. Yeah.
Okay, so we did first base. We'll go.
First base.
First base.
Keith Hernandez. You going to Hernandez?
Keith Hernandez is all defense. Mattingly. See, the problem is there's so many good offensive players at first base. Mattingly.
Jim Thome. You go Jim Thome?
I don't even know if I put him as a first baseman. He's almost strictly DH.
Eric Wilson.
Eric Wilson. I will give you Eric Wilson. Eric Wilson was the all-around hitter, right? Lefty.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought I was a better first baseman, but whatever.
I didn't say you were better. I was saying all-around first baseman. The lefty. The ripped up sweatpants, stretching out. That's I guess Pujols. How do you deny Albert Pujols?
Pujols, was he the first? Yeah, okay.
I mean, really. Unless somehow you catch him with steroids. Really, he's had a ridiculous career.
All right, so second base, I go Willie Randolph.
Willie Randolph,
second baseman. No.
Over Roberto Alomar.
Didn't he spit on somebody's face or something?
Yeah, well, he's terribly human being. Is he a good second baseman? Yeah, probably one of the best ever. But he's a terrible.
Roberto Alomar is better than Willie Randolph?
Yes.
Yeah?
I have to say so. I love Willie Randolph. I always thought it was a mistake that they didn't give Willie Randolph more of a chance with the Mets. As a person, he's a great guy. And I remember him as a kid. I loved him. He's a great second baseman. But you think
Roberto Alomar is a better second baseman?
Well, I think Roberto Alomar has especially his big years. Are just no one else has done it. We could even get into
they were in the big steroid years, but
well, you can say that too. Okay,
you want to get Brett Boone hit was 40-40.
Okay,
right?
Where do you cut the line with steroid years? Because his best years are actually probably early 90s Toronto. Early 90s Toronto. 91, 92 in Toronto. It was he was a monster,
like Brett Boone, hit 2020.
Uh-huh.
But
now here's the thing. Jeff Kent. Why isn't Jeff Kent in the Hall of Fame right now?
Because he wasn't that good until he got really good. He wasn't that good until he got really good. And then he got really good. You're right. Am I wrong?
I don't think he ever got caught with steroids, right?
Okay. But
he is the Mike Piazza of second baseman. His defense is but he hit like no one else. His bat would have played at any position.
Of course, yeah. He was a savage.
Yeah.
And he was also unlike Piazza, I think. he was like not likable. I think
No,
everyone
no.
fucking
Well,
hated.
I think
Everyone fucking hated Barry. Everyone hated Jeff Kent.
Lance Berkman, I think, who played with him while he was on the Astros, and they were asking him, I think asking Lance Berkman, is he a racist or something? He's like, no. Jeff Kent just hates fucking everybody. He's a terrible human being.
Yeah. Whereas who was the other person we were talking about? Like, they were like, they're not. Yeah, I think he just wasn't a good.
Yeah, Jeff Kent was. It's more because no one likes Jeff Kent. Then there was the whole incident with his dirt bike.
What?
But you remember, like, he was in San Francisco, like, and I guess he blew out a knee in an off season, and he made up some ridiculous excuse that he was like washing his truck, and he hurt his knee, and it ended up being that he was riding a dirt bike, which is in his contract not to do,
Oh,
and
shit.
so to not lose the money, he made up some ridiculous excuse, and everyone always used to make fun. I remember the sports shows at the time would just make up like really ridiculous excuses, like oh, he was with Paul Abdul, and they were like some stupid excuses why he was, none of them made sense. He was washing his truck and somehow he blew out his knee.
Ridiculous.
So okay, so we're going with who's our second? I'm going with Alomar. I don't think you can top Alomar in our lifetime.
Okay. Shortstop.
Is A-Rod a shortstop?
I mean, yeah. Do you want to think that's the best shortstop of the time?
I mean, have we ever seen a guy offensively like A-Rod at shortstop? And he won some Gold Gloves at shortstop too.
Yeah. I mean, all right. Yeah, you going A-Rod?
I don't know. I don't like the guy. I'm glad they're saying now there's no chance he's buying the Mets, and I'm glad. But I was actually intrigued. I was like, maybe he would know. He'd be a good owner. Maybe, because he's, such a weird pick. But I can't picture that going right for the Mets.
Yeah.
Like, he I can picture him, like, they always say, oh, he's a very, big student of the game, But, this is a guy who came into the league when he was 19, And whatever you want to say about steroids or stuff like that. But, just the numbers he put up, and most of his career at shortstop, but a good portion at third,
I used to regret, argue with Nick Rhodes per se, about Derek Jeter, how we just win more games or whatever,
Well, Derek Jeter had his mojo, I'll give you that, in a big spot, I need a single in the bottom of the ninth. I'd probably pick Jeter over A-Rod,
I'm calling Ian Fuller. We're bringing him in. What do you think about that? You all right with that? Hey, do I still got you, Paul Vance?
Kevin Sharp?
Yeah, I was trying to call Ian Fuller, but then I lost you for somehow.
Can we do a three-way call?
I was trying to do that. That's what I was trying to do.
Let me try and get him on my line.
All
right, hold on. Fuller. Oh. 7166 is his book.
You got it? Hello? 1, 2, 3, 4. Get that Fuller on the floor. Gotta get up to get down. Hello? I got you.
What are we listening to? Let me see here. All right, turn the speakers off.
We got Ian Fuller. What? What? Bananas.
Okay.
All right.
2 outs, bottom of the ninth. You have a runner on third. You need a single to get a guy home. Who's your guy at bat?
Shit. I think I'm going Tony Gwynn.
Was Tony Gwynn clutch? I mean, he hit like 330. Was he clutch?
I don't know. I mean, I'd go Paul Neal because that'd be the first.
Over Jeter?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Was Jeter a big? Yeah.
Well, we were talking shortstop, and we said who's the better shortstop. I said A-Rod is just clearly like no one's ever.
Yeah, you wouldn't want A-Rod. You definitely wouldn't want A-Rod.
Jeter is better in the 2 outs in the 9th situation.
Yeah, of course.
You said Paul O'Neill, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Watching the World Series with Jim DeGrassi, I will never forget. I mean, I don't know what the score was, but it was one of those moments as a Mets fan, you know they're going to lose. But, like, the Mets are up, Benitez is on the mound, and Paul O'Neill is at the plate.
Me and Paul Flans were at that game.
DeGrassi is screaming, unwavering faith, unwavering faith, unwavering faith.
No.
And I think we all know what happened. The World Series lost with Paul O'Neill. So in that scenario, I trust that Paul O'Neill will probably always get the hit because I watched it happen and I watched my dreams be crushed forever.
Woof.
That's so funny, like the idea of a clutch hitter and like and they measure these things too, like, you know.
Well, it's like, you know, we've played softball and it's like, you know, who, you know, you see certain dudes up at a certain time and you're like, oh shit, good things are gonna happen, you know, like, or they're not, or, you know. It's
well,
like,
you know who I remember as a kid. You remember Dave Stewart, the pitcher for the Oakland A's.
Okay, yeah.
Dave Stewart. Yeah, right. He was this big, tall guy, like built, and he for those late '80s A's, and he, for some reason, was like dominant in the postseason. Yeah. You throw him on the mound in a World Series or an ALCS game, and he was just a monster, and you couldn't stop him. And then you look at his career numbers in the regular season, he's like, you know, like you wouldn't be hurt if he never was on your team. You wouldn't, you know. But if you got him in the right situation, suddenly he turned, you know, the juice up or whatever. Well, maybe literally the juice up, but you know, like, and was a fantastic player, you know, a fantastic pitcher, you know. And some of those guys are just like that, you know, like Daniel Murphy in 2015, you know, like that was insane, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
Just like good, you know, mediocre player that just has a banana season.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, you know, like, and they some reason hit. Is it just a small sample of at bats, or is there something about being a clutch hitter? You know, is there such thing as a clutch hitter?
I don't know.
You remember when Francisco Rodriguez came up right at the end of the season, and then they just mowed through everybody in the playoffs? He was just like he was unhittable, and he was like 19 or 20, some ridiculous thing. It was like a secret weapon.
Yeah.
Just right time, right moment. And it looks like clutch, but just right time, right moment.
Yeah, I mean, and no one had any 19, 20. No one has any real scouting reports on the guy. You know.
Yeah. They
couldn't figure him out, and it was too late in the year to try and go back and find out, you know, anything about it. You know, so.
What do you guys both think about, like, sporting events? Like, do you think it'll ever go back to normal?
Shit, I don't know. You know, I think the big, like, overall thing is going to be some sort of vaccine, you know, and what that means and what we can do. Like,
and you think if we get a vaccine, then we'll just go back to exactly the same thing we used to do?
No way, because people aren't going to take it.
Yeah.
I don't. Will it run its course? I mean, has any country successfully did the herd immunity thing? You know,
no, definitely not.
No.
I mean, but.
Yeah, it's scary, you know. So
like I don't know.
It's really hard. It's really hard to picture hopping on the train, going through Grand Central, hopping on the 7 to go to City Field. Like that's
up all around other people.
At this point, it's like unimaginable. It's like when would I feel okay doing that again? And I don't even.
That's okay. You can come to my house, and we will from there we can get to City Field really. Okay, take a car, come down here. You know, socially distance in the car. I'll get an air mattress. You guys will be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I wish. Like, it's fucking...
One of the reasons I moved to Bayside was I am 10 minutes by train to fucking City Field.
Yeah.
I could watch... I was doing it, you know, like last year and the year before.
You might get on... You might catch something at a Mets game in a good year. Like,
yeah.
Good grief. Yeah, I had other points I wanted to bring up, but I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Okay, well, we're going through the best baseball team all time.
Okay, third base, Craig Nettles. Is obviously Craig Nettles.
I loved him as a kid. I loved Craig Nettles as a kid.
Why are you getting it? Why did you start loving baseball? Because of Craig Nettles.
Yes.
Boom. Boom.
Yeah, that's
roasted.
True.
Yeah.
That's true. Number 9. Number 9.
All right, left field. Left field.
I mean,
Darryl Strawberry? Is it Darryl Strawberry?
Darryl was right field.
Oh, Darryl's right.
At least with the Mets, he was right field.
Okay. Darryl, left field. Ricky?
Ooh, how can you go against Ricky unless you...
I mean, Ricky Henderson. I don't know.
It's either Ricky or Bonds. And...
I go with Ricky over Bonds. Fuck the records. Like, Ian Fuller knows Ricky Henderson's like he used to have like a weird sayings when he was a Met, right?
Oh, he was great when he was a Met. He was actually I loved him as a Met.
I appreciate Ricky Henderson, but man, if you're really fielding a team tomorrow, Ricky Henderson over Bonds. Ooh. I mean, Bonds is probably one of the most unlikable figures ever in baseball, but man.
All right, I'll take a leadoff hitter. I'll take a leadoff hitter that's gonna take a pitch, try to get hit by it. Yeah. Whatever. I'll take a leadoff hitter that's gonna end up on second base, and that was Ricky Henderson. Like,
right. Well, here's the issue. You can debate whether he's the best left fielder. You can't debate whether he's not the greatest leadoff hitter. I don't think there's even anyone close.
He's not the best. He's obviously the best leadoff hitter. Yeah.
I mean, is there a better Ty Cobb? I think is the only one who I think people put in the same category as him.
Fair enough.
But even Ricky, what was it? It's the 1 year he was with the Yankees. He had 28 home runs. Right-hander in Yankee Stadium.
Most leadoff home runs from home runs from a leadoff hitter. Just on accident, because he was like, "Hey, if you're just gonna throw him down the middle, I'm gonna home runs."
Yeah, and because and Yankee Stadium is notoriously tough on right-handed hitters, for home runs.
Yeah.
And he just said, so you knew he could do that. He had power, he had speed. Yeah. He was at an amazing eye at the plate. He studied. I mean, he was so he's self-absorbed, but he took the job of being a leadoff hitter to just a different level.
Yeah,
he was and I remember I always got mad at the Mets. After he retired, the Mets hired him as a first base coach. And he kind of mentored Jose Reyes as a leadoff hitter for that 1 or 2 years that he was. And those are the best 2 years of Jose Reyes' career was when, he had, Ricky Henderson there kind of telling him what to do,
Kev's going to pee off camera now slightly.
Oh, all right. So it's just us.
Oh, no, I think my screen is way delayed, but last time he was half on camera, and it was kind of funny.
Wait, you saw him pee? What?
It was just he grabbed his bucket and his elbow was in the picture. I'm wow.
He has a bucket now? I didn't even see that.
No, he has a jug. He has a jug.
I didn't even know that.
He was just off camera peeing in the jug, and then he forgot to zip up until he was on camera. He might get blocked on Facebook for that one. That'll be in the news. That'll be in the news tomorrow. Trump lies and Kevin Schlong. Both blocked on Facebook.
Two dicks.
You guys are all the fucking worst. Yes, I was peeing off camera.
That's funny.
Ian was right. I was peeing off camera.
New York Cosmos, front day.
All right, Ian Fuller, who's your best fucking right fielder?
I don't know. I don't remember anything.
Shit.
I don't remember anything.
Yeah.
Right field, left field, centered.
Ian Fuller, what did you have for lunch today?
I know what I had for lunch today because it was exciting. I had a Popeye's chicken sandwich.
Well, how was it good? It was pretty good, right?
Delish.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know left field, right field. I can't.
Whatever. That's not true. You love certain teams. Fucking what is it? Edgardo Alfonso. You
Edgardo
love
Alfonso. What
You
wasn't he a
love
second baseman?
second
No.
baseman.
Yeah.
We both love. We all love Edgardo Alfonso.
Yeah. No, Edgardo Alfonso was amazing.
Who was that?
I remember-
John Olerud at the time. John fucking Olerud.
John Olerud was fun.
He's my favorite all-time Met. I think one of the all.
Al Leiter was like a.
Al Leiter. Right?
Al Leiter is probably still my favorite Mets pitcher of all time. Although it's getting tough. It's getting close.
The Grom has been fucking nasty, man. Like
the Grom, Syndergaard, and my potential all-time favorite R.A. Dickey. You know, they're all in the running.
What about Turk Wendell? You know, if Turk Wendell started a cult.
Turk Wendell's fun. I somewhat, for some reason, I always liked Roger McDowell. I don't even remember why. I just always liked him.
Well, Roger McDowell is kind of like the
childhood, you know.
He's kind of the Ramiro Mendoza of his era, where he would like, if it's 3 innings, 2 innings, whatever, he would just go out there, close. He's before like the closer role became so like defined that you have to go 9 innings.
Sure.
That's it. Guys who pitch. 6 outs are like some sort of freak of nature, you know.
Yeah.
He was all purpose. He'd occasionally set his teammates on fire.
Right, exactly.
He provided excitement.
All right. Well, listen. I love you.
We haven't got to center field yet. We have to do center field.
Who's your favorite center fielder? Like, is
Ken
it
Griffey
fucking?
In my lifetime, Ken Griffey Jr. I don't think you can top. His
Ken
Seattle
Griffey
years
Jr.
are just stupid, right? I mean, is there any better player? His Seattle years.
Who's that dude from the Orioles that fucking hit 50 home runs? Brady.
But that was 1 year.
Yeah, fuck that dude. But yeah, fair enough.
He got on a good cycle, you could say.
Yeah, right.
Who's the best? Yeah, I mean. Ichiro.
No, the best. I remember this when I was like, he was like 93, right after he had, right around the time he hit the 50 home runs.
Yeah.
He like posted a picture online or somewhere of himself like on a shirt and like posing, and it became like the #1 gay website picture. So he's like doing his steroids, thinking he's the man, and then he becomes a gay icon.
Fair enough.
There you go. You kept that.
I don't know, Ian Fuller. Who's your best center fielder?
Let's see. I had Cameron on my fantasy baseball team. He was terrible, but
Mike Cameron, I love him.
Bernie baseball.
I'll throw him a vote because he had a good glove.
I mean, Bernie Williams, man, is hard.
Williams was rock solid. Couldn't play defense, especially towards the end of his career, though.
Yeah.
Closer, end it with closer. Come on, is there even a conversation?
Okay, let's end it with closer.
It's Mariano, right?
It's got to be Mariano.
It has to be.
Ian Fuller is gonna say Benito.
No, are you kidding? Are you kidding? No way in the world.
Benito's good days, he was great, but it was like you never knew what you were getting. You knew when he stepped on the mound. You knew when he stepped.
So Rivera, hands down, the best. But Sharpie, I actually have a question for you about closers.
Okay.
You once told me a story about Billy Wagner that I always assumed was true, and I repeated it countless times.
Yeah.
And I've always recently I've wondered, is there any truth in it at all? It was that he became a lefty because he broke his right arm and he threw a ball at a piece of plywood in his backyard.
Yeah.
Where did you hear that?
I read that in an article somewhere. I don't know. It's before the internet was that. Overall, but yeah. I tried
to find that story, and I haven't been able to find it. I love this story. I think it's an amazing story. I want it to be true so bad.
And honestly, Billy Wagner's career went kind of southish, like...
The second he joined the Mets?
Joined the Mets. Exactly. As happens. As tends to happen when you come to the Mets,
Woof.
I remember
it is what it is. But what do you guys think that sports will continue to happen? Like, I don't.
What are we gonna do? I miss sports. I still don't think of us as having sports.
There's too much money. There's too much money for the leagues to just give up.
But there's
they'll figure out a way.
Like my issue is that in the last 20 years, like 20 years ago. The three of us could go and see a fucking game for like $200 between us, which is still a lot of fucking money. That's a lot of money between three dudes, and we could still see that.
Yeah.
Now there's no fucking way we could see a game for like we like $200 each. We'd have to see a fucking game. Like, it's gotten so expensive and so fucking.
It's social distancing night at Yankee Stadium.
I mean,
6 feet between seats. Here's your $700 ticket.
Yeah. I mean,
like, I don't know how it gets done.
Beyond the social distancing shit, it's just like shit was too out of control before. Like, how do we, like.
Well,
as people like us that like want to go see some fucking games, like,
Yeah. Like if we get to the point where they can start getting people back to the stadiums at a reasonable rate, where they could maybe open up a full stadium to a game, how many people are actually going to go? How are you going to make that attractive? Because there's going to be people who are going to be like, I'm just not ready yet.
Yeah. But it's the same with music. I mean, how do you get music venues back open? How do you get concerts? How do you,
Right. Oh my God. Yeah.
How do you even get like crowded bars? Like it's
it's just like with sports, you want them to still happen. So it's like that's different than I can live with if Metallica doesn't play next year, but I want to.
Well, you can enjoy a baseball game on television.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're not really going to enjoy a concert on television.
Are you guys? I heard you guys talk about it a little bit earlier, but you guys watching any games right now? You watching any sports right now?
I'm not.
I don't have a package for the Mets, where I get my cable, and I'm afraid to like invest in it. I'm like, what am I getting? Am I going to? So I've been watching a lot of stuff on like the ESPN Gamecast, and stuff like that. So I'll keep it open in my computer and listen to it, or not listen to it, but like, check on and see who's in, who's out, to pull this guy in, which is not really watching a game, I guess, but at least I'm keeping track of what the Mets are doing, but like my big thing is like, now it's like YouTube. I'm obsessed with YouTube. It's bad. Ian Floyd, you're gonna like this. If you had a chance to like watch a TV show on YouTube, regular YouTube, watch Vice Grip Garage.
Vice Grip Garage. All right.
Definitely one of the best things I've ever seen. A guy like will go and pick up a car in like Minnesota. No, he's from Minnesota, so he'll go like down to Ohio, pick up a car that hasn't been run in 10 years, fix it up, and drive it back to Minnesota.
See, that's what Roadkill used to be until Roadkill went big budget, and they got first it was through Motor Trend, and then they got picked up by. Now you have to pay to see Roadkill, but initially that's what Roadkill was. They were like a writer and editor from like car magazines, and they would do the same thing. They'd go out and they'd buy a car, and they'd have to fix it on the road, and it was kind of like these guys are crazy, and it was funny, it was entertaining, and you learned stuff too. But then they went big time.
Okay, now but there's this one guy. He does it. He owns a shop in Minnesota, and he'll just be like nowadays, even people will be like, listen, I have a 72 Camaro in out of like 800 miles away. He'll fly down there with whatever tools he can carry in his luggage, and get it started and drive it, 900 miles home.
Yeah, that's it. I would watch. It's sad to say, but I would watch that right now. I'd be wildly entertained.
And he's funny. He's funny too. Like he's got a very good good sense of humor about it. That I watch, and then the other thing, there was like a couple of years ago, Jess's nephews, they used to watch like these things on TV. I guess maybe do your kids watch this, where like it's like basically a commercial for a toy where it's another kid just playing with a toy. You ever see those?
I've seen like the opening, the unboxing things. But
right.
No,
They open them and
it's not really a thing they're into.
And I'm like, man, that was so stupid. I used to get mad at them. I was like, it's targeting the kids, and the kids are going to go to the parents. I used to say, this is the biggest act of bullshit. Now what I do is I watch guys, like, try out guitar pedals.
Guitars, I know. I've done that, too.
I'm like, I need that now. I'm like,
wow, I'm a dork. I've fully rolled into that.
I mean, I can watch an hour of a guy playing with, like,
Yes,
this guitar pedal and being like, I need that.
Yeah. That's been me. That's been me and COVID. I mean, that explains my basement right now.
Some guy like plays this thing. You're like, oh, that'd be so great. It'd be work out perfectly.
Sharpie, are we off air now?
No, you're still on air, but we're good. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4. Put that pedal on the floor. Gotta get over to get on.
The picture changed on my screen, so I thought that meant things were over, which is,
I mean, I can cut it off whenever we want, I suppose. But,
we can move. We can move to a video.
Yeah,
we could do a Zoom call.
Yeah, we could do
or
a
Google call. Let's do that.
All right.
Is it a good time to end it?
Hey, here we go. Let me go and.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. You have to. My computer is dead. Batteries.
I'm gonna pee. Somebody send me an invite.
Okay.
Thank you all for joining us for episode 16 of 15 Beers on a Tuesday afternoon. We're gonna close it out now with a song by Helmet.
Oh no! One more thing.
Yeah. What?
I just want to know. Like before I came out, I was going to ask you this question, and I didn't get a chance. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you.
Okay. So, am I the guest? Am I like Jack Hanna? You remember Jack Hanna?
No. Oh, the guy that had the animals?
Yeah, he would come on Johnny Carson, and it was very obvious like they were trying to fill time and just throw someone on there. Am I just Jack Hanna?
Here, you want to know if you're Jack Hanna?
Yes. Like the guests they just throw on when they can't find anyone.
Can you hear that?
What? What?
No, can you not hear that?
I can't hear. I can hear nothing. But I can hear your voice. No, I can't hear whatever. Hello? Sorry, I lost you. Sorry. Well, if you can't hear me, what's going on?
$15 beers on a Tuesday afternoon. That sounds about right. That sounds metal as fuck.
15 Beers on Tuesday afternoon is a Crazy Rev Kev production.